Pepsi, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's Zach Wolchuk and Bryan Broaddus.
Cowboys improved to 3-1 on the year as they spanked the New England Patriots 38-3. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus, the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys, live from the Miller Lite Club here in AT&T Stadium, brought to you by Pepsi. Made for Cowboys watching. And the defense, well, Bryan, all week long, hey, are you worried about the run? They laid an egg last week. They bounced back in a big way this week. We knew New England would want to come in and run the football, and the Cowboys' run defense was absolutely superb today. The takeaways, you had a Duron Bland pick six, one of his 2 interceptions on the day. Leighton Vander Esch with a scoop and score after a tremendous hustle play by Fowler to strip Mac Jones. You end up having a quarterback benching with Bailey Zappi coming into the second half. Defensively, this was a dominant performance yet again as they held the Patriots to just 53 yards rushing as a team.
Yeah, they did a great job when it came to making the play. You know, last week there was bad gap fits, bad overruns of plays, not being where you needed to be, the fits, the finishes, just not very good for the Dallas Cowboys last week. And this week, though, it's kind of funny. Their longest run was Ezekiel Elliott's 9-yard run.
Yeah, his first carry
that he had. So, nice job of bottling up really this whole New England offense. It's an offense that lacks weapons. It doesn't really have anything on the outside you have to deal with very much. We talked about the tight ends. They look like they were trying to get them going pretty early. But just the way that the Cowboys, the fit, the gap discipline, the finishes, all those things were super positive for your defense today.
It really was. And I think last week, we talked about this in the week leading up to it. Your linebacker play wasn't very good a week ago. Leighton Vander Esch, Damone Clark, they're getting caught in the trash. They're not getting off blocks. Even your safeties that you're accustomed to, Jaron Kearse, who's a sure tackler, Donovan Wilson. Today, it was a bounce-back performance. Your linebackers were fantastic. Leighton Vander Esch, 7 total tackles, leads the team. Right behind him, Damone Clark, followed by Donovan Wilson. You got that performance from the second level, and Jonathan Hankins was absolutely dominant. I think when we go back and watch the All-22, that might be one of the best games Jonathan Hankins played in a Cowboys uniform.
Yeah, we talked about some of the issues that New England would have inside, with no Cole Strange. It kind of felt like that he was their best guy, but they really had the Patriots' offensive line on their back foot the whole day. Cowboys winning the offensive line, the line of scrimmage, playing into their backfield. It was very clear on, those short yardage plays, the fourth down play. Damone Clark, who's kind of had a quiet 3 games, stepped up, makes a big play on that fourth down, quarterback sneak. So, yeah, that's what you have to have. You have to have guys getting to the ball. You have to have the finish. But you have to have that ability not to get turned or moved out of the way. Last week in the game, it was way too often where, the inside guys would get pinned, and now you have an overrun, and the ball's right through the hole right behind it, or a cutback. There wasn't any cutting back the ball today for New England. All those gaps were taken care of.
It was the worst loss of Bill Belichick's coaching career, as the 35-point loss, largest in his 25 years as an NFL head coach. That's what your Dallas Cowboys did today. And I saw this nugget over the last 3 seasons, and this is courtesy of our friend Todd Archer. Cowboys now 9-1, and they're averaging more than 33 points per game following a loss. We went back and looked at, they had a really disappointing defeat to end the season in Washington a year ago. They bounced back. They dominated the Bucs in the wild card round. Last week, certainly a poor performance all the way around, but they bounced back today, and this one was basically a preseason game in the fourth quarter.
It was a preseason game, and I'll say this, though. Mike McCarthy and the staff had a really good plan. They came out, they mixed the run and the pass. Dak, the protection was outstanding, especially very early in the game. And you kind of got the feeling like if the Patriots don't blitz, they're not going to get rushed home. And they ran a twist stunt early to get one. It was unfortunate that Tyler Broaddus got caught to his right a little bit more. He couldn't work back to his left, and Dak got sacked. But overall, Dak had plenty of time to throw the football. The couple of times that he did get hit, ball was out, ball was already downfield, in that 15 to 18 yard range. So nice job of Dak getting rid of the football, getting it down the field, but the receivers doing a good job of winning on the outside against. I think it really hurt New England early in this game when Christian Gonzalez, he was dealing with the shoulder injury.
Yes.
And so now he's out of the game. Maybe that's something that they wanted to do, use some of him and some coverage stuff.
Well, and to your point, the play after Gonzalez goes out, Dak goes right at his replacement on CB Lamb for the 20-yard touchdown.
Right. Yeah, that's just good football. That's knowing who is on the field. There's been plenty of times through the Cowboys, I know in the Jason Garrett administration, where the opponent would be down a man or down two guys, and they wouldn't take advantage of those situations. But this game, they clearly put the pedal to the metal and made it work today. Cowboys
head coach Mike McCarthy has taken the podium. We'll hear from him momentarily. Of course, we'll hear from Dak Prescott as well. Very efficient day from Dak. 28 of 34, 281 yards and a touchdown. Look, when you're able to play to your strength, which is the defense, and they're getting a couple of touchdowns, you got Chauncey Golston getting into the mix for the point after try, the fake. How about that from Bryan Anger? You didn't need an extraordinary Dak, but I thought overall Dak was very, very good today.
No, I thought he was outstanding. Very efficient. Though the numbers, usually when Dak is somewhere in that 26 to 30 range with the completions, but the attempts at 34, he's averaging about 7-7, a shot throwing the football. That's all you need right there from Dak. Play efficient, see the field, go to where you need to go with the ball. And I thought he played very, very well today.
No question. And, we were talking about trying to get more explosive plays as well. And at halftime, we discussed this. But you had some big chunk plays in that first half. Michael Gallup, you hit him for 29. Jake Ferguson, career highs. 7 catches, 77 yards, averages 11 yards a catch. He had a 21-yarder. And Ferguson gets targeted 7 times. Those were all catches. Jake Ferguson slowly but surely is emerging as a legitimate tight end one. And I think by the end of the year, that spot's going to end up being an upgrade over Dalton Schultz, who, congratulations to him, he did have a touchdown today as a Houston Texan. CeeDee Lamb, 4 catches, 36 yards and a touchdown. His touchdown at 20 yards. Tolbert with an 18-yard catch. You started to see the ball pushed down the field a little bit more, and this offense open up, be a little bit more explosive, specifically in the first half.
Yeah, once they figured out that they could get the protection that they needed, it was a comfortable pocket for Dak and making those throws. Receivers, coming back to the football, even some balls that were thrown that were some contested ones, able to make those plays. That's ideal football today for the Cowboys. We all kind of have that concern about, what's going to happen with the Doga at left tackle?
Yeah.
Doga was just fine. Maybe on the other side you had some issues a little bit over there with Steele, but we'll look at the all-22 and kind of figure some things out. We'll probably talk about some red zone stuff today.
Yeah.
They were only 1 of 4 in the red zone. Got to kind of figure out what was the problem there today. It seems like every week there's something, whether it's an execution issue, maybe a personnel issue. We'll find out today what that problem was. But you can't go down the red zone. And man, this team does a great job of moving the ball between the 25 and the 20. But you got to figure out that red zone stuff.
Yeah, 1 for 4 for the Cowboys, and really that last one to Hunter Lipke felt good. Maybe that's
kind of where I think this team has got to go with that Hunter Lipke down there. If they're going to run the football, make sure it's Hunter Lipke down there. I'll say this too about Ferguson. I thought Ferguson, you mentioned the number of catches he had, a reception, had some tough catches too that he made. But his ability to make that first guy miss.
Yes.
And first guy miss, and then it turns into second guy miss.
Yeah.
And then a finish, over the third guy, a physical finish with him running the football. So, hats off to the way that, they were down, down a guy, with
Hendershot
being out because of the, late injury that he was dealing with. And so, good for the Cowboys of Ferguson taking advantage of the situation.
Well, and Sean McEwen, who ends up getting the play in spot.
Oh, gets a helmet sticker on that one.
Man, much like we talked about Tyler Broaddus the first 2 weeks of the season, Great play from Turpin on the end around, super explosive, and just a phenomenal play by New England. They come back, knock the ball out, but right there hustling downfield, Sean McEwen able to fall on the football to avoid a turnover and allow the Cowboys to maintain possession after a big play from Turpin.
You know, the thing about it, and McEwen got a good block on the edge.
He did.
That got the ball outside, and then so him just running and hustling to the play. There were several Cowboys that were down there in position. That's a very contagious thing, what Tyler Broaddus has done like the last couple of weeks of chasing the ball, and if it's on the ground, get on top of it. Sean McEwen was in the perfect position to make that happen.
Really nice having Tyler Broaddus back. Zach Martin, of course. Martin did leave in the fourth quarter, and yet TJ Bass come in, maybe re-aggravated that injury a little bit. Hopefully
that's what Brad was talking about a little bit.
Yeah, and Rico Dowdle.
Yeah.
Also, and I think that's one thing you noticed. When Rico Dowdle's not in the game, he might be your best pass-protecting running back, and Deuce Vaughn then has to slide in and do some of that. That ain't a strength for Deuce Vaughn. That's something we talked about even studying him on the draft show.
Not at all. Deuce Vaughn was not asked at Kansas State to stand in there and go toe-to-toe. He's willing to do it. He's just, his lack of height hurts him there, with his base and his ability to anchor down on guys that are going to try and run over the top of him. Deuce Vaughn is a throw-it-to, hand-it-to guy. Didn't play a lot of special teams. He was a star. And your stars don't play a lot of special teams unless you're Darren Woodson.
Yeah.
That kind of guy. Hey, we'll see what happened with Rico. That's the one thing. What's the, it's when you start to talk about Rico Dowdle's career, it's positive. Oh, wait, he just got hurt. Mm-hmm. We'll see how bad the hip injury is this week.
Another great week for Brandon Aubrey. Plano's own comes in, and certainly, yes, the conversation that I'm sure we'll get into, 877-881-1053. We want to hear from you, 877-881-1053. You don't want to be kicking field goals in the red zone, but Brandon Aubrey's becoming Mr. Reliable. Outside of missing that first PAT in New York on the opening night, man, 23-yarder bangs it through. Right, another 23-yarder.
Yeah.
Then he's able to hit a 33-yarder. Brandon Aubrey has solidified that kicker spot. You feel pretty confident about him right now.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm to be honest with you, that kick that they were going to try right before half, what was that thing? 67 yards, and they got the motion penalty that set him back, and they tried to get the 5 back to do it again. So, yeah, I'm kind of glad he didn't have to try and hammer a 67-yard field goal there.
What if he made it?
What?
What if he had made it?
There's, like Brad said in the broadcast, probably a pretty good chance he wasn't going to make that.
Yeah, probably not. An outstanding performance overall, 38-3. Cowboys get the win. A lot of the texts coming in talking about the red zone, Lipke time, but we definitely got to give love to Duron Bland. A week ago, and maybe some of the players echoed these sentiments, but you're dealing with the Trayvon Diggs loss. Duron Bland is a guy that has been sensational. He leads the league in interceptions since he's come in to the NFL now with 8. He had 2 today. To me, a big question was, all right, the trickle-down effect. You feel confident about Duron Bland. It's a blessing you now have Jordan Lewis back healthy playing the slot.
Yeah.
But Bland, last week, maybe a little up and down. He did have that one penalty, but today he was absolutely brilliant.
Well, and, it's a different style of receiver that he faced today.
Very true.
Not
the speed.
Yeah, the bigger guy, but you also faced a quarterback that makes terrible decisions. To roll to his right and try and throw the ball all the way back to the left, with Bland sitting right there. Hey, good for Bland. I'm going to say this. I have never wavered at all about putting Duron Bland out on that field. And when it went down with Diggs, I know there was a lot of doom and gloom and, this is going to be bad. I didn't believe that at all. That kid right there, he's tough. He's a willing tackler. He can finish. You've seen the ball skills that he has. Oh, no, man. There are going to be corners in the National Football League that get beat from time to time. But I'll tell you what, he's one of those guys. He might get beat, but the next play he might come back and get you a pick 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just the way that kid plays.
Short-term memory.
I have no hesitation. When Diggs went out, I know myself, and I don't always say, I don't toot my own horn on this, but I'm like, no, you will be fine with Duron Bland playing on the outside.
Yeah.
As long as Lewis is inside, you will be fine with Bland playing on the outside.
Well, he joins.
Be a good challenge next week, too.
Yeah, it will be. And we'll get to San Francisco later on. Don't worry about that. But he joins Trayvon Diggs and Larry Brown as the only corners. He's the third corner in Cowboys history with multiple interception return for touchdowns in the same season. He had the one pick six week one at the Giants, and then he had another one today. It looked like he was about to have another house call there, but he got that second interception. So Duron Bland, been absolutely fantastic. 2 interceptions today. It's the second career multi-interception game that he's had. Also did it last year against Indianapolis. So an incredible performance for Duron Bland today, and really everybody on that Cowboys defense. A great bounce back. And I think special teams as a whole, you talk about the PAT, the fake there, but just a well-rounded game. And the penalties. You only had, I think, 5 penalties as a team.
Yeah, and it was kind of sloppy there in the second half, when the penalties. But the first half, I really do like this Scott Novak crew. Yeah, they let you play.
Let you play,
Just
man.
let you play, let you finish. But, if you're going to get called for a holding, it's legitimate. Face mask, legitimate. There was some really good calls. They let these guys play. And I think that's the way these NFL officials need to do it more often.
How about Trayvon Diggs tweeting out right now, or I should say X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
But Duron Bland is the best DB in that class. He's loving what he's seeing from his teammate Duron Bland.
The kid has toughness. He plays aware. He knows how to position himself. He's going to battle. He's going to tackle. What's there not to like about Duron Bland? There's some coaches in the Pac-12. That kid went to school at Fresno.
Yeah.
There's some coaches in the Pac-12 that missed that. That kid should have been playing at SC or UCLA or Washington or one of those places.
No doubt.
There's some guys that missed that guy. He's super talented.
He really, really is. And then, of course, the return of Zeke. We had the video to open things up. Nice moment. They showed Zeke on the Jumbotron, and he did the feed me, the patent move that he has. 6 carries, 16 yards. 2.7 yards per carry for Ezekiel Elliott and his return to AT&T Stadium. Cowboys didn't make it easy. Very reminiscent of Emmett's return to Texas Stadium when Roy Williams knocked him out of the game in the second quarter.
Whacked him and hit him in the shoulder. I think it separated his shoulder.
It did.
Broke his collarbone is what he did. It was bad, but yeah, I mean that's Cowboys were not going to get run on today. They were not after what happened to them last week. They were not going to get run on in this game.
No, and as a team, we mentioned it. The run defense was absolutely fantastic. Cowboys, on the other hand, were able to run for 124 yards on as a team. Turpin with the big 46-yard really helped that. Tony Pollard, 11 carries, 47 yards, averaged 4.3 yards a carry. Cowboys' run game, maybe that's one thing. You look back, you study the tape. I felt run blocking, they're going to need to play much better next week going up against a tremendous front in San Francisco, but I'm interested to go back, reflect on some of the running lanes that maybe were or weren't opened up.
Yeah, the Patriots are good on the run defense as well. Here's coach speak for you. I'm going to look at the all-22. I think you're going to have to. I think you're going to have to see, okay, because I know from the press box seat, I was trying to kind of focus, was there some blocking issues, scheme issues?
Yeah.
Was it just the way that New England was selling out on the run?
It felt like backside pursuit a lot of the time. Like Judon, Matt Judon made a couple of great plays.
If you don't block
the trailers on the backside.
Trailer on the backside. If you don't block those guys on the edge like that and they run down, now what you have to be able to do is get the ball on the outside. You have to think about, okay, we're going to fake something going down, and then they tried the boots and the waggles and stuff. I think they're in a situation where Dallas, they're kind of like. They're going to need next week. I don't think the running game, when we start to talk about that game, I don't think the running game is something we're going to be focused on. I think it's going to be about how can you protect, how can you block this front, and how can you make some plays in the passing game.
Absolutely. 38-3. Cowboys get a win over New England here at home. They remain undefeated at AT&T Stadium to start the year, 2-0, and they are now 3-1 on the season. When we come back, we'll hear from your head coach, Mike McCarthy, as he reflects back on the big win, as he gave Bill Belichick the worst loss of his coaching career. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks.
America's original craft vodka. WinStar World Casino and Resort, proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Sleep Number. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Buffalo Wild Wings. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. It's Miller time.
On second down, Prescott back to throw. A lot of time to survey things. Runs out to his left. Throws to the sideline to Gallup. Caught for a big first down. And all the way down the sideline goes Gallup.
38-3, Cowboys get the win over New England. They improved to 3-1 on the season. Michael Gallup today, another good performance from him as he had 5 catches, 60 yards, including that 29-yarder, and kept moving the chains as Michael Gallup now stacking these up. Had a really good game last week, puts together another solid game here today, and pretty incredible what we're seeing from Michael Gallup as he's finally back healthy, man.
He is, and he looks like a much more confident player in the way that he's operating. You can see the routes. There's that, that he feels confident in pushing off that leg and making things happen. That's the whole thing with him. He just needed to get going, and once he did, he's just got the ability to make those plays, especially down the field, the comebacks, the outs, the stuff along the sidelines, anything that requires him have to be able to get his feet in bounds, short areas, the tight throws. All those things are kind of into Michael Gallup's wheelhouse, and he's looking like a much more confident player playing that way.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus from the Miller Lite Club here at AT&T Stadium as the victory party rolls on. 877-881-1053. The number to call, the number to text, 877-881-1053. We'd love to hear from you, but right now let's hear from your head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy.
We talked to you last week about how last week's performance was so uncharacteristic of what your team did. Can you talk about how you played tonight, especially defensively, that kind of setting the tone for you early?
Well, I'll just start with, complimentary football. I mean, it's a tremendously long year. This was a distinct challenge. I mean, it was a great challenge that, was right on time for us, especially after our experience last week. So, it's really a true definition of complimentary football. I mean, the defense, with the takeaways and the point generation, I thought special teams, played well, and we had the one big play there. So, in offense, I thought we moved the ball very well. So, I mean, time of possession, keeping your defense fresh. Obviously, you always want to score every time you have the ball, but I think this formula makes us a strong football team.
Clarence, Forward Star Telegram. Can you just talk about the fake extra point and then where did that come from and why at that time?
Well, I mean, just got to give John a ton of credit. I mean, it's something I think he brought it to me Tuesday night, and just something we saw on film. So we repped it all week, and we had to check on it. So we got the look, and it was just like anything in this game, the players did a great job preparing, and it was very well executed. So we just felt that it was something we may have a chance to take advantage of.
And one quick follow-up. The 66-yard field goal you attempted, you want just talk about that. I mean, that would have been an NFL record. I know you want to see what Brandon could do there.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, and I've seen him kick it, deep in the high 60s. So I would have loved to give him that opportunity, right before the half.
Mike Duron Bland has 8 interceptions since he entered the league, scored for the second time already this season. What makes him the unique kind of playmaker, ball hawk you're looking for?
Well, I mean, you could see it right away. I mean, just an extremely disciplined young man, when he was given his first opportunity. So, I mean, his ability to play inside and outside, excellent ball skills, which the whole back end is, as a group is, I don't know if I've seen so many guys that can hawk the ball. But yeah, I mean, it's just great to see your young players, have that success, especially when you know how much they put into it. So, I thought he played phenomenal today.
Anybody else?
Go ahead.
The defensive touchdown, just getting them. I mean, obviously you look your 3 wins. You're one the 13, but your defense, it's certainly on your 3 wins. They've just been so dominant.
Yeah, definitely. We want to get started, on offense, but defense really, really set the table, with the takeaways and the field position. So, and that's just, weeks 1 and 2 is, the performance was very similar. So I thought our defense got right back on track this week.
The red zone offense was a point of emphasis this week. If there's one area you didn't execute all that well in today, that was probably it. What are your thoughts on where you go from here on that?
Well, you just got to keep working. This is a good place to be when you win, by a significant, margin of victory, and you feel like you have a lot of work to do. So I like where we are.
Okay. Coach, Nick Eatman, DallasCowboys.com. You talk about the second-year jump a lot. Is Jake Ferguson making that here these last few weeks, and what is he doing that's kind of standing out to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think Jake has just really been given an opportunity to be a complete tight end. The run, the protection, and the passing game. So he's always had a knack for yards after the catch. And I just think, you're seeing a guy that's paid the price. He's got his weight up, from year 1 to year 2, and he needs to maintain that and keep it because, the tight end position, they do a lot of heavy lifting. They don't, they're asked to, get in there and compete in the C gap and a D gap area. And also we're asking more of those guys in protection, as far as assignments there. And, in the passing game is, he has a really good feel for man zone, understanding, very, very bright football, very, very instinctive football player.
Understand you weren't looking ahead to your next opponent until now, but having this performance going into that game, was it important to kind of reestablish and wipe away what happened in Arizona going into that game?
Well, yeah, I think so. It's, I don't look at it that way. It was important for us to win the game today. That's really when you start the week's work. We've talked about this in the press conferences. They came in and we cleaned it up on Monday, and it'll be no different tomorrow. Just because we won the game, the correction process is exactly the same. We need to learn from. There's some things that happened in this game that we can definitely learn from. I know especially on offense with all the empty pressure that we saw. So it's important for us to take this experience and grow with it and apply it. Because, we clearly understand who's next. But tomorrow is, self-scout, clean up, and make sure we got our house clean.
Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy after a 38-3 win brought to you by WinStar, home to over 8,500 of your favorite electronic games, more than 1,000 table game seats and 1,400 luxury hotel rooms. It's always a good time at a WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys get the win. We're hanging out in the Miller Lite Club right now. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Today's game between the Patriots and the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium was brought to you by Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official grocer of the Dallas Cowboys. We now welcome in the voice of your Cowboys, the great Brad Sham. Brad, how are you, sir? That was a fun one.
That was a fun one, and it almost got me over the pictures of you in your pink Speedo that were online all during the week.
I apologize.
I don't know if an apology is going to work. This is going to take some time.
Professional broadcaster there, huh?
Yeah, I was proud.
Hey, okay, he's talking about he doesn't look at it as a bounce back or doesn't look at it as, trying to cleanse the body of what happened last week.
Here's why I believe him. His record.
Oh, this record will tell you that.
And I think before he got here, but certainly in the last 4 years, coming off a loss, it's really good.
Yeah.
And as you heard, I talked to him about that on the pregame
You sure
show.
did. I met you.
And I think that the thing that I do believe that he believes that the way to not dwell on the bad stuff that happens is to believe in your. Turns out Jason Garrett was right all the time. No one wanted to listen to him, but it's a process.
Sure.
And you have to believe in your process. And when you do, you'll be able to not get too high after the regular season wins and too low after the losses, and you'll be able to come back even from a game that the rest of us might look at as embarrassing because of who the opponent was. And so I think that to him, it was what he expected. I think that's what his process led him to expect. And this is Now what they've shown us 3 times out of 4. So, I think that's reasonable. Now, the team they played today wasn't very good, it turned out, especially on offense. And they won't all be like that, but you can only play the game in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked last week about the defense, the amount of rushing yards allowed. Nice bounce back today. They only allow 53 yards as a team, especially with the return of Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, well, their offensive line's not great, and that's a big part of it. Zeke ran hard. Zeke had a couple of good runs, but I do know from talking to some defensive players during the week, they were not about to have another performance even remotely like that to put on tape. They were embarrassed, and that's what gives me some encouragement going forward. The players really take ownership of the performance of the team, and they were legitimately embarrassed by what they put on tape last week, and I didn't think they'd play like that again.
Do you feel like, and most likely we're going to get Tyron Smith back at left tackle next week, but has Adoga played well enough to where you feel like, okay, if something were to happen to Tyron Smith again, that Adoga playing at tackle is more than just serviceable?
Let me watch this tape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't realize as the game was going on against the Giants or the Jets that he played that well at guard. I didn't realize it.
Sure.
Then you look back at the tape and you go, whoa.
Yeah,
And then when a play breaks down like happened in Arizona 2 or 3 times early last week, and you can't always tell, even from a quick replay, because Brian, the course of the game as you're broadcasting it, there are certain things you have to pay attention to. Then when you go back and you say, oh, well, that was a 4-yard loss on the second play of the game because the left tackle just absolutely
gave up. Yeah.
And so let me see this game. And my gut feeling is if I do it for a long time, I'd still flip him. And I don't know if McCarthy would do that if he had to do it for a long time, but I think you made the key point. He really doesn't think that he's going to have to do it for a long time. And so just leave them like they are. Everything's going pretty well. So.
Yeah, that's –
By the way, I'm sorry. This is really funny. Just to describe to everyone, we're in the Miller Lite Club.
Right.
And people are having a great time, as they should. Now, right to our immediate right, behind thick glass, is the interview room.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's very thick glass because the interviews that Mike McCarthy that we just heard recorded in there, and Dak Prescott is doing his post-game presser live in there right now. And these people are screaming, hey, Dak, like they think he cannot hear them. You may as well be standing in the middle of an airplane motor. He cannot hear you. He will not look at you when you wave. He's got a room full of media right in front of him, and people are undeterred. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I think if we were at a hockey game and we were on the glass,
just bang on it,
they still wouldn't hear him with that glass.
Correct. Sorry, where were we?
Okay. Dak Prescott, though, throwing the football looked very comfortable today. Mm-hmm. Routes downfield, routes coming back to the ball, guys getting open. Looked a lot different. I kind of felt like today, okay, maybe a little bit more pressure. Maybe, we're going to have to block it up front a little bit better. But I'll tell you what, the times he did face a little pressure, ball was out, ball was where it needed to be.
I haven't been worried about him. You can practice all you want, but you got to play a couple games with a new system, new terminology. And okay, now they've done that. He is remarkably good against the blitz. He had one great throw for a big completion when he sees them blitzing and he knows where people are supposed to be and he throws it there and he's really accurate with it. And, I thought his receivers helped him. I think you could see it was a great game for Tolbert in all phases, as they would say.
Right.
But he showed some of his individual moves. And obviously they haven't really gotten Cooks going yet, but they will. I do believe they will. And I thought that Prescott played really well today, and I was not surprised.
If you go back and add up all the numbers, if you're one of those people that believe in numbers or just the eyeball test, the last 2 times that Dak has played against Belichick, he's lit him up pretty good.
He absolutely has.
I would challenge if you said, give me all the quarterbacks in NFL history that have this rating and this yardage and all. And I bet you Dak Prescott might be the highest rated quarterback to play against the Bill Belichick.
I don't know
defense.
if it was Belichick's plan to take Lamb out of the game. I don't know what did CD finish with.
CD had, I believe, let's see here, 4 catches, 36 yards, and that touchdown.
Okay, fine. So if you want to say that takes another touchdown, that was a good play.
It was.
On both ends. But if you want to say, okay, we're going to take him out of the game, okay, fine. Look what Ferguson did. Ferguson, if you remember the preseason game, I want to say it was the second one, and he caught 2 big seam routes, and those weren't from Dak. Big seam routes where he went up and made a play. And I said, this guy is not just a safety valve. This is a playmaker now, and you got to see some of that today. So this will continue to be a process again, but he'll develop, and clearly Tolbert's developing. Clearly Gallup had his best
today,
game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I just think you could, hey, we're barely a quarter into the season. I think you can see that they've got something decent developing.
Yeah, but I agree with what you said in your post-game comments. The injury to Rico Dowdle, we need to see how bad that is.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a shame.
That would be a tough one because
he's
he's kind of a different guy. I mean,
the pass
hand
protection.
him the ball, the pass protection, throw him the ball. You know, that might be one of those like, okay, well, Malik Davis will. I don't, you know.
Well, you know, it's funny. Last year, I was more comfortable with Davis. I thought he was a better runner, but he's a different kind of runner, shiftier. But I'm not sure if Dowdle has really been healthy from his rookie year until this year.
Right.
But what you saw this year, and you were in camp, you saw it. He runs with a violence. He really attacks, and he looks for the contact. And makes the defense kind of think twice about it. Plus, he's got some elusiveness, which is it's a good combination. And if they've lost him, then that would be a blow. But I do think Malik Davis is a capable player. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and see. Maybe it'll be something for Dowdle that won't keep him out too long.
Brad, any other takeaways before we let you boogie on out of here?
You know, I just think the defense played really well, and the offense was efficient. If the defense plays well, like we've seen them do 3 times, the offense doesn't have to be more than efficient.
Yes.
They didn't come close to turning the ball over.
Yeah, your 14 points on defense today would have been enough once again.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. And they just make you able to call the game differently.
Right.
There's more in his bag for McCarthy that we haven't seen because you don't need it.
I think
Prescott, it's easy. Maybe I told you this when I saw him on the airplane after the Giants game. Was it the Giants? Yeah, coming home from the Giants game. And I asked him if he'd ever pitched. Did I tell you that?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's a little easier to pitch with a 6-run lead.
Right.
And that's what they've given. I mean, this game, so at 10-3, you know, you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But as soon as the defense got that first touchdown, then, okay, it was going to be hard for New England from that
I think next week in the coach's corner, right off the jump, ask him about, hey, what things do you still have in the bag that we're going to see today?
Because he's going to answer that.
Yeah. Yep.
Here's a gentleman who's been overserved. I would say, and I'm glad you brought that up, and then I'll leave you guys for the rest of the show. Next week is week 5.
Yes.
Everybody's going to want to make it the NFC Championship game.
Absolutely.
One way or the other, it's week 5. It'll be a good measuring stick. It'll be the best team they've played. It'll be a team that they know they have to get past. All of the above. You want to win. You want to play well. You want to show them they're equal. You want to do it on their all of the above. It's week 5. Everybody just relax.
I still want the bag question.
Yeah, but why would you waste that time?
I tell you what, they wasted a fake field goal, extra point today.
That was so interesting.
It was a beautifully set up
it's
play.
gorgeous.
That was so because why would you do that today?
Well, because Belichick had shown he's going to bring a guy in motion and block field goals. So you're going to put him on the table. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why.
We're going to put that on the table, kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah. You go block field goals this way,
See,
we're going to fake one on you.
And I am a big baseball guy.
Yeah.
If back in the days when they used to try to pitch 9 innings,
Yeah.
you'd pitch a guy the first time through the lineup with the second time through the lineup in mind.
Yeah.
You would not throw him the same. You would throw him a certain pitch in the 3rd inning to see what he would do with it, so that in the 6th inning you would come back and throw him something completely different because you've seen it. So you don't want to show everything you've got. You don't want to empty the bucket offensively. You want to see what they've got and what you're doing, and then so that point about, okay, if you think you want to do something fancy, blocking a kick, let me show you what I can do.
Exactly.
And everybody just think on it.
There you
just
go.
think on it. And all you people down the road who are thinking about it, here's a little something for you.
There you go.
Brad, you're the best. We always enjoy catching up with you. We'll do it again next week after Sunday Night Football.
Same, guys. Okay. That's good. I'm excited to have another night game we can fly back from.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I got to get home because the Taylor Swift show's about to start.
Yes, it's very true. She is in the building there at MetLife Stadium.
She came in with Kelsey. Did you see the picture?
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She ride the team bus?
I don't know about that, but she was walking into the stadium with him.
Oh, wow.
So everybody immediately, while you continue to listen to this program, get to your phone and Google Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift walking in together, and buy a whole bunch more of their records and whatever they're selling.
Chiefs, Jets, that is your Sunday Night Football matchup. Of course, will be Cowboys and 49ers next week. There he goes, the voice of your Cowboys, the great Brad Sham. We're going to catch up with your Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, on the other side. Plus, we got Dak Prescott for you. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Is your workplace on top of its game? For over 100 years, Pollock Aurora has been taking care of business, improving their bottom line.
COWBOYSWIN.com. Tell them Drew sent you. Hood, hood.
Prescott in the gun with a back on his left, 3rd and 6. Throws it right. Ball is caught by Ferguson. Broke a tackle. First down to the 10 and to the 5 and out of bounds between the 3 and the 4.
38-3, Cowboys get the win. They improved to 3-1. The post-game celebration rolls on here from the Miller Lite Club. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus. 877-881-1053, the number for you to call and text. We do want to hear from you, but right now let's welcome in our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt. Bobby, how was it in the locker room? I'm sure very, very excited.
Jovial would be the term. Yeah, I mean, everybody's really excited. They made a point this week on defense in the locker room to talk about how they needed to respond to what they had done on tape last week, which is honestly, they didn't show up. They didn't show up against Arizona as a defense the way that they had all year. They did in the second half. They were a little bit better in the second half. But they made a big point this week of talking about how, we need to show up. We need to bounce back. And they did in a really big way today. They got turnovers. It wasn't one of these 12 sack performances or whatever from the defensive line, but they generated some pressure. Their run fits were a lot better, and they were locked in. And it was a game that could have been really easy, I think, for everybody on this football team to get swept away in the emotion of, oh, Zeke's back, one of our leaders, and the emotion of right before kickoff, here he is, almost looking choked up himself, raising a fist to the AT&T Stadium crowd. And the first run of the day, Zeke breaks away for almost like, a first down on 1st and 10, picks up 9-10 yards right out of the gate. Yeah. And it was something that could have easily swept them over, especially after they seemed to be swept over by the Trayvon Diggs news last week. Mm-hmm. And so impressive job, I think, by Dan Quinn, Mike McCarthy, getting them mentally prepared to play. And a great job by the Cowboys defense stepping up and covering over the mistakes that they had, that had plagued them last week against Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. You bring up the Diggs loss, and certainly it hurts to lose an all-pro corner, and there's no making up for that. But how about a guy like Duron Bland, who it seems like every time he's asked to step up, he answers the call?
Yeah, I mean, we're how many games into his career now? 20? He has 8 interceptions. I mean, he leads
the league since coming into the NFL.
I think it's such an underreported aspect, it feels like, or under-discussed aspect is the ball skills that Duron Bland has shown. But, man, he read that. That looked just like Diggs. The pick six looked just like the one Diggs had against Philadelphia a couple of years ago. He is a really impressive player. He's somebody who is incredibly mature, somebody who is a total pro. Somebody I know this organization is really impressed with the football character, and if Jason Garrett were still here, that would be one of his right kind of guys that fits everything they need. So incredible athlete, hard worker, motor runs hot, smart player, high football character, and I think that's one of the reasons why you didn't feel like the season was over just because Trayvon Diggs was lost for the year. Gilmore was part of it, but Duron Bland was a huge aspect.
I'm not surprised at all, so I'm not going to talk about that. I will let you brag about your quarterback today.
Quarterback was good. Quarterback was good today. He was getting through his progressions pretty quick. I felt like he was making the right read. It's interesting. I was just looking through the box score here. He had 6 incompletions. 3 of those were to Luke Schoonmaker. And Schoonmaker, of course, had the
that one I'm kind of worried about
drop
myself.
Yeah. Schoonmaker would be a star down for me in this game. He
you
wasn't
know what,
great.
man? He had his hands on that ball.
Oh, it's just a drop.
Got to finish it.
And he's capable of that.
Well, and we talk about red zone, mistakes and where to fix things in the red zone. That was a perfectly placed ball, and that was a play that Dalton Schultz would always make for you.
Yeah, and look, I think that
Hell Ferguson might have made that play.
Yeah.
Not the Hell Ferguson would have made that play. I'm just saying the way that Ferguson goes and extends for the ball. I mean, he got whacked on that one.
Look, I know there's been a lot of talk about twins with Jake Ferguson, but
Sure.
I mean, when you look at quadruples, he had 7 targets, 7 receptions, 77 yards today. It was 7s across the board. He was fantastic, good in open space, sure hands, made a lot of big plays for them. Ferguson was great. To Dak's credit, I think Dak, the most critical moment for Dak to me today was he was great on the first 2 drives. I thought he was good the rest of the day, but he was great on the first 2 drives, and that's when you needed
after the
it.
4th down, right? They had to punt after the 4th and 1.
Yeah, so I thought
man,
like
that could have been a dagger if you'd have gone and scored on that one, right?
I thought seeking out CeeDee Lamb right after Christian Gonzalez leaves the field, I thought that was a good play. You've got the Michael Gallup play where he kind of was able to, we talked about this during the pregame, Brian, the freelance ability.
Right.
And when he's able to just play his brand of ball, good things happen, and that's what happened on the Michael Gallup play. He actually missed Lamb initially, because if you watch him go through his progressions, he moves off of Lamb just as Lamb breaks free and he's wide open.
He was.
And it was, I remember watching it sitting in the press box, and I was like, damn, he's missed him.
You were watching something in the press box?
Yeah, I was, yeah. I was actually sitting there. I wasn't chatting the whole time with everybody in my row, too.
I did.
I
I saw
watching,
you working.
Brian.
I did.
So I was sitting up there, and I remember seeing it, and I was like, damn, okay, this is going to be a 5-yard check down, and we're going to have to point to this play as one that he missed. And then he freelances for a sec. He finds Gallup. They pick up 28, probably about what they would have picked up with Lamb. So I think Dak was really crucial those first 2 drives. Then after that, it was just you leaned on the defense.
Yeah.
And obviously there's still some things that, weren't perfect in this game. The red zone is still something that's a little concerning. They missed their first goal to go of the game. That was 6 straight goal to go opportunities without a touchdown for this team.
It's hand the ball to Hunter Lipke is what it needs to be.
In single back, not as an up back.
No, just hand it. Exactly.
Yeah,
Single
let
back,
him be your red zone back.
Let him be the red zone back.
I'm completely fine with that, but man, I think this was just, Dak was big when you needed him to be big in those first 2 drives, and then after that it was just lean on the defense, let them make plays. That was the big aspect here. And shout out to Dante Fowler, who I don't think gets enough credit for being a really important
that was a
part
hell of a
this
play.
pass rush.
The pursuit and the hustle. Oh my gosh, it was a beautiful play. I'm 100% in on Hunter Lipke. It's something we've been talking about quite a bit. That's one of the best attributes about his game. I do want to ask you this though, Bobby, because you've been tracking the offense over the first 3 weeks, the air yards. We finally did get to see some chunk plays today. Do you feel better about this Texas Coast offense from what you saw today? Is it moving in the right direction?
So I think that what you saw today early on with the offense was a mea culpa from Mike McCarthy about tightening up the offense with the offensive line struggles last week. That when he saw that the offensive line wasn't completely broken down in the second half, I think he regretted not taking more shots against Arizona. And so I think today this was a vote of confidence. And hey, Chuma Edoga, you held up okay in the second half last week. And Edoga was good today, I thought. I mean, I'll have to go watch the tape, but just on a first glance, I thought Edoga was good. I thought Edoga was better than Steele today. And
is the most used line of everybody in
we
the
need
media?
to go watch the tape.
We need to go watch the tape.
You do, though, when it comes to line play, you really do.
But we do have the opportunity to go watch the tape.
We do. We get to watch the tape.
It's my out for if I look and I go, oh, you were an idiot in the press box the other day. That when you weren't really watching from the press box, you were talking and annoying Bryan. That's the way that I look at it, Brian. But no, it is something where you got to go back and look at that, obviously. But I do think that was Mike McCarthy saying, all right, let's give a vote of confidence, not only in the quarterback, who it's not anything.
They protected him well today,
Look,
I thought.
The quarterback's not going to talk about it. But I think the quarterback, the sense I got the last 2 games, even the victory against New York was, I'm just saying, the sense you get.
Well, go ahead.
The sense you get, I think, is just a little bit like, I can be doing more. I can do more to help this team win.
Yeah.
And I think that this was a.
You're saying the coach might be holding him back a little bit?
I think the coach probably said, you know what, you probably can be doing more. And the offensive line, I need to give a vote of confidence in Chuma Edoga and our guys who are back. I'm going to say, all right, let's try to open this up a little bit. And they were trying to push some vertical concepts the first couple drives. They cut it after that, but it was at least more encouraging, showing that they can do those things if they want.
You up to our Love of the Star after this game tonight?
Of course.
After we get done.
I mean, I know. Like, I think this will be a nice little bonus episode, and then we'll go home and we'll record and we'll knock it out. We never stop, Brian.
Never stop.
Never stop. Never stopping.
5:45 in the morning, and I'm gonna keep on going.
Keep on trucking, man. I look forward to listening to you tomorrow, of course, on the flagship 105.3 The Fan with Sean and RJ. Finally, before we let you go, you have let us know about how this team has mentioned San Francisco for multiple weeks now. They've had their eye on that game. They have a bad taste in their mouth of the way their seasons ended the last 2 years against that team. What are your expectations for the build-up this week?
I think that while we feel good about this performance, and I do think it was a game that they won all 3 phases. I think special teams, offense, defense, they outdid the Patriots today. The red zone's still an issue. If you have those same issues in the red zone that you've had the last 3 weeks, you're not beating San Francisco and Santa Clara. That's not happening.
No.
And so it's a big game for them. I'm going to be really fascinated all week to just talk to the guys in the locker room. I want to hear from Jaron Kearse, Kearse is a guy who has circled that game the last couple of years. That's an important game to him. I want to hear from CeeDee Lamb. I want to hear from these guys about how important this game is, because it definitely is. Even veterans, when they played the Jets, you had veterans like Zach Martin who don't normally show any sort of like emotion like that. I mean, that's a Garrett type of player. And Zach Martin even brought up San Francisco when talking about the Jets. So they clearly look forward to this team. I think this team is one that's not in their head, but it's present in their mind, and they want to know how they stack up against them.
Bobby, I love you. You're the best. We'll catch up with you again next week.
I love you all.
There he goes. Bobby Belt, our Dallas Cowboys insider, brought to you by the National Medal of Honor Museum. Join the mission at mohmuseum.org and AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. 877-881-1053. We still want to hear from you. Line up those calls now. We'll hear from the quarterback, Dak Prescott, after a 38-3 Cowboys win as the post-game celebration rolls on live from the Miller Lite Club at AT&T Stadium. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
The big game is here. It's the new Cowboys scratch ticket from
Pepsi Zero Sugar. Made for Cowboys watching. Texaco. Fill up on what fuels you. Texaco with Techron. Driving performance. And by Ford. Your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
In the first quarter, there's a man in motion. It's a fly sweep to Lamb around the right side. Nice block from Gallup. And with second effort, Lamb crashes through the safety Duggar. And I believe will pick up a first down. And what a job Gallup does blocking.
Michael Gallup getting it done not only as a receiver today, but as a blocker as well. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus here in the Miller Lite Club at AT&T Stadium following a 38-3 Cowboys victory over the New England Patriots. They improved to 3-1 on the season, and now they look ahead to the San Francisco 49ers Sunday Night Football next week as the Niners won today over Arizona and improved to 4-0. That will be quite the test. We'll have plenty of time to break that down. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. We'll hear from Dak Prescott in just a moment, but I do want to hear from you. Let's go to line 3. We've got Brooke in Southlake. Brooke, you're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hello, Brooke.
Nope, Brooke is gone. All right, let's go to Robert in Hal. Robert, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you guys? How you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks.
So my question is, are we ready to admit that Dak is just not our championship quarterback? Great game, but 14 points in the red zone. When coming into this game, we had 60-plus plays in the red zone.
Yeah, you blame. So you're going to throw it all on the quarterback on this one, then, right? Is that what we're going to do?
Yes, great quarterbacks do not take opportunities in the red zone and waste them.
Do you get to – I'm just going to ask you a question. Are you an all-22 guy? Do you NFL.com? You that guy? Or are you just watching eyeball test of a game from a TV perspective?
Well, I watch from every game this week, or every game every week, and I
so,
see
but
what
you
the
don't look at the all-22 stuff at all. I'm not trying to rip on you or anything like that, but you don't watch that, is what you're telling me, right?
No, because I don't care about overall stats.
It's not stats. It's not stats. When you watch all 22, it gives you a picture of why something works and why something doesn't work. It keeps you from just throwing out there that your quarterback's not any good. That's what it does. It teaches you and gives you vision to maybe make a little bit. Again, that's your opinion about Dak. But if you watch the all-22, you will figure out some things why they're struggling down in the red zone. And it ain't all on number 4. And has number 4 not been great at sometimes? Sure, absolutely. Wasn't good on that interception he threw in the Arizona game the other day. He's got to, every time I've told you this, I've been real consistent about that. His interceptions when he doesn't see the defender, those are the ones that you should be nervous about. But you just threw a blanket statement, and I'm kind of feeling like you're working on mysteries without any clues, an old Bob Seger song,
Yeah, I know the song, but
yeah, it's
I've
a good
got
song
too. Clues. The last 8 years we've had Dak, where have we gone? Absolutely nowhere.
Okay, you're blaming. Okay, you just don't like Dak, right? Admit that to me, and I'll feel a lot better about you.
Well,
you don't like the quarterback.
I've admitted this to you numerous times. I'm the same guy that calls in each week.
Oh, sure. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but you know what, like I say, but I'm asking you to study to try and learn a little bit more about the quarterback, and you just want to call in and say, well, I watched the game, but you do have the opportunity if you want to go watch the all-22 and maybe think a little bit different about him or stretch your opinion to where you're actually like, hey, Brian, let me tell you why I don't like this quarterback. Instead of just, randomly throw something up against the wall.
Without you bringing any stats or anything like that.
I'm not bringing any stats at all. I'm not bringing any stats at all.
Crushy doesn't like the stats.
I am not an analytics dude.
Not into that.
Not at all.
Zero rings under Dak. 0 championships under Dak.
All right. Sure. Yeah. Okay. That's true.
No, I appreciate the call, Robert, and he speaks for a large portion of the fan base. Today, though, this is the formula that I think Dak can win a championship with, right? You play with a defense that goes out there and dominates. Special teams was good today. Dak is efficient. Dak made some plays. Third down, Dak was brilliant today.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are consistently one of the best
he
third
started
down
with
teams.
the red zone stuff.
And yes, the red zone stuff is an issue, but to your point, and we do go back and watch the All-22, there's
I
some.
encourage everybody to.
And you can. You just get NFL Plus, and boom, everybody can watch it.
And it's not cheap, okay? I admit it. There's some people that don't want to. But if you want to really learn about your football team, and you can watch all the NFL teams play.
Yeah.
You could have a shot and say, man, I watched the Eagles play today.
Yeah.
And, boy, look what happened here. The Eagles aren't very good doing this.
Sure.
Dallas could take advantage of that.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff the coaches watch.
Absolutely.
But I'm just asking him in a way because I'm thinking like, okay, he's just going to week to week, he's going to just blame the quarterback. And, that's not the case. Some days the quarterback is not good enough.
No, and last week was one.
He was not good enough last week.
I was very critical of him
He sure
at the postgame show and said, man, I'd like for my quarterback in a team sport, when your defense has a bad day at the office, you step up and raise your level of play, and maybe you go ahead and lead the team to victory. Today, defense did that, right? Dak didn't have to be great. That's my only gripe is maybe when the defense has an off day, that's when I want you to elevate your level of play.
I felt like that he raised his elevate. This is not an easy team to deal with.
No, and he's done it twice in his career against Bill Belichick.
Yeah, he has wore Bill Belichick out playing football.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
That's fine. I just encourage people to do that. I'm not a stats guy. I'm not going to throw stuff at you. I'm learning about this next-gen stuff, which is fascinating that, hey, look, 36% of the time, Mac Jones gets pressure on him. Well, it looked like it happened today. Boy, that's a stat that's worthwhile right there.
No doubt.
But you can't sit there and just put all this on this quarterback.
No, the red zone woes.
Play caller was not worth a damn last week either, too.
Yeah. And protection, missed assignments. I think Dak and Tony Pollard running into each other. I think that's most of the time on the runner. But hey, there's stuff that we'll go back on and look at today. But yes, the red zone woes certainly need to get corrected, but not all on the quarterback. There's plenty of blame to go around. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. That opens up a line. Let's go to Daniel in North Carolina. Daniel, you're on with Zach Wolchuk and Bryan Broaddus.
Hey, good evening, guys. I'd just like to give a tip of the cap to Jalen Tolbert on that punt coverage tackle.
Yeah, great job. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's really stepping up. And then my question is, why can't we get Deuce Vaughn into the second level and make big plays like we all know he can? It just seems like he gets stifled at the line of scrimmage more times than not.
Yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem with Deuce Vaughn is that, sometimes it's to and through the hole and it needs to be clean. And he has not had very many clean looks.
No. Today, there was nowhere to run.
Yeah, when you watch, and it's happened to him a couple of different times. It happened to him in that mop-up game against the Giants. You get to a point, the game's kind of out of hand, and you're trying to hand him the ball.
Yeah.
And the offensive line's really not coming off the rock like they did earlier in the game, and they're not creating separation with the gaps. They're not getting a blocker up on the second level. A lot happens when you're a mop-up guy. Some days, if you're a mop-up guy against the Denver Broncos, when you're on the Miami Dolphins, you might rush for 300 yards.
Yeah.
But here, there has not been any real opportunity for him that I've seen where they can get him going. And that's a lot of it has to do with trying to get him to and through the hole. But, man, every time they hand him the ball, it seems like there's somebody already playing on his side of the line of scrimmage.
I agree, and I think we've already seen some texts like, man, move Deuce Vaughn to the practice squad, and maybe some people that are already out on Deuce Vaughn. It happened early in the season with Mozzie Smith as well. We're getting similar texts with Schoonmaker. I'm a big believer in Deuce Vaughn. I think he's a good player. The one area that we knew he wasn't going to really succeed at was in pass protection. There he is somewhat of a liability.
He's short.
And there's nothing he can really do about it.
It's not a lack of effort, but
No,
something
it's the
that
size.
he's never been asked to do.
Yes.
And he's trying to pick that up. He's trying to do it when he's in there. But, yeah, there's been some times where they've handed him the ball, and he's literally got color right in front of his face.
Yeah, today was
no place to go, no place to turn. And these things with these rookies, give these kids a chance.
Yeah, you can't write off a guy's career in 4 games.
I mean, I don't even know how you do want.
You don't. And people want, Jalen Tolbert, right? Jalen Tolbert's looking much better. Arrow pointing up. We just had a guy give a shout out to Jalen Tolbert. Tolbert was written off after a poor rookie season. Yeah. You can't make those kind of judgment calls like that, knee jerk overreactions. But I'm a big believer in Deuce Vaughn. I think Deuce Deuce will get some positive carries here moving forward. All right, let's go to our buddy Scott in Jersey. Scott, how you feeling, my man?
Hey, guys, what's going on tonight? Good game tonight.
Hell of a game.
Good call. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, the one guy was wrong about Dak Prescott. I don't know stats, but I think he's top 10. There's plenty of other reasons why they haven't won with Dak Prescott, but that's not my point tonight. I just wanted to touch on a couple. Pollard. I just wanted to say Pollard's really coming along. I know it was only 46 yards tonight, but it was 46 really tough yards, tough yards, and he's really. I'll tell you what, as Nate from Frisco says, we're in preseason, so I think he's ready for the season. But the other thing I want to talk about is what was McCarthy doing? We're up by a ton of points at the end, and we have 16 seconds left. Why aren't we just taking a knee and just ending the game? Ending a half. I mean, people can get hurt. I don't understand, and that goes back to coaching. McCarthy coaching. Sure. Is he? I mean, that was like, listen, I'm just a dude from Hazlet, New Jersey. I know you. 16 seconds, you're up by a lot. You just take a knee, right? You don't want nobody to get hurt. There was 4 plays where somebody got, and I hate to say that Aubrey, if he kicks that ball, God forbid he blows out a hamstring, getting something that we don't even need. Well, and he's a great kicker.
Yeah, something worse though, Scott, is they had Jabril Peppers back, and then they kick 6 you.
Yeah,
and then because what the problem is you have guys, if you miss that and Peppers gets the ball and it's coming back, you have offensive linemen covering, tight ends covering. You don't even have guys that are used to going down. Now, there's some tight ends that play special teams, that play on the punt team and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about a punter, a holder, a holder, a kicker, and then all offensive linemen trying to make a tackle. That's what you deal with when you try these long field goals and they're no good.
Yeah.
We don't often see it happen, but that's something that you have to be worried about. You've got guys on the field that are not used to making tackles except when it's maybe an interception return.
Absolutely. No, it's a great point, and I know it's something that a lot of people were wondering about as well, like a Micah.
Just kneel the ball.
Micah still being in there late in the game.
Yeah.
And certainly it was out of hand probably halfway through.
He was hunting sacks.
The third quarter. He was.
Micah was hunting
sacks. If you remember, Micah did that last year too in the blowout over Minnesota.
Yeah,
he's like, I just don't want to come out of the game.
Yeah.
Good luck telling him, hey, you're done. You get out of here. All right, we'll get more of your calls and texts, 877-881-1053 after an impressive Cowboys 38-3 win over the Patriots, improving to 3-1 on the season. We'll also hear from your quarterback, Dak Prescott. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf.
player or the community they build, Bell Nunnally is behind every great company. Go to bellnunnally.com to learn more.
Smith-Schuster in motion, right back left. Jones play action, chased out of the pocket, hit, sack, fumble. Van Der Esch has it to the 5 and runs it in. And does a wolf call.
Shout out to Fowler as well. An excellent job in pursuit there, chasing, rallying to the football, strips Mac Jones in the scoop and score for Leighton Van Der Esch. His first NFL touchdown. Can you believe that? 6 years later, he's finally in the end zone. Excellent play by the defense. That was their first defensive score. Of course, they got one a little bit later from Duron Bland, which I'm sure we will play. Zach Wolchuk and the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus from the Miller Lite Club at AT&T Stadium as we are celebrating a Cowboys 35-point victory as they improve to 3-1, knocking off Bill Belichick, Ezekiel Elliott, and the New England Patriots 38-3. And afterwards, yes, Brian.
No, go ahead. I was going to say we'll circle back around Zeke. I want to kind of talk about
Zeke.
Okay, that sounds
absolutely.
Good.
And one of Zeke's best friends, Dak Prescott, took the podium earlier. Let's hear what the winning quarterback had to say.
Finally got the red zone score at the end. Just talk about how efficient the offense was, how important it was to get that last one in.
Yeah, I mean, pretty efficient. Still not to our standard, though, honestly. Having the red zone, as many opportunities we had in the red zone, having some field goals. I guess on that 1 4th down, we were on the fringe. Didn't convert on that. Still not up to our standard, but obviously it feels good to get a couple of red zone touchdowns. Had the one just barely outside of that to CD. So good to get a receiver a touchdown. A lot of good comes from it, and a lot of great comes from it when you win a game 38-3. So. It's a lot easier to get better with a win like this and a score like that.
Is that the perk of the NFL statistics that CD at the 20-yard with the red zone, it had to be 19 and in on the field? A lot of us learned that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not inside 20, it's not red zone, you know. So, but honestly, going into this game, we told him that. Shadi actually told him that for you to score, it's going to have to be outside of the 20. And it's really just credit to their defense, their scheme, and them trying to take away the best players once you get inside the red zone. So he answered.
Dak, Ed Werder, ESPN. You guys, the last 3 years have been 9-1 coming off a loss. In your next game, you're 9-1 and average 33 points a game. Those are both the best marks in the NFL. What is it about those situations that brings out, I don't know, the best of you guys?
Yeah, we want to stay out of those situations. Much rather just be coming off of a win and going to get another win. But just allows us to refocus. A lot of those, I'm sure, in the last 3 seasons, from the top of my head, are humbling losses. Maybe games that we shouldn't have lost. Maybe games that we let get away from us at the end. And, yeah, I mean, it's a reset thing. It's everybody coming in with a sharp focus. And it's what you expect when you have the leadership that we have, the coaches that we have with the experience that they've had, for us to lock in, really pay attention to who we are and what's the purpose of our mission. And don't want to say it's easy. It's never easy winning in this league. But when all the guys are locked in, focused on what they have to do, you get games like that.
Hey, Dak. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Jake Ferguson, last 2 games, 12 catches for 125 receiving yards. Can you talk a little bit about his year 2 jump and just how strong you guys' chemistry are coming on this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise to me as a guy that loves the game of football. Not many people in that locker room love the game more than Ferg does. He shows it each and every day with his preparation, with the way that he approaches practice, with the extra time that he spends in the film working with Coach L-Dub. And, yeah, it's no surprise. It's no surprise, and it's only going to get better. He's a guy that has confidence through the roof. Obviously, he can throw into tight windows. He's going to come down with the catch. He may take a hit. He's going to get up and let the guy know that it wasn't anything. You know what I mean? Very physical player, plays with a lot of energy. And he's really just scratching the surface to a long, successful career for him.
Dak, is Kevin Sherrington, Dallas Morning News, is the struggles, I don't know if I want to call it struggles or not, but in the red zone, is that a product of adjusting to this new Texas Coast offense, or is it just something else that's limiting you all at this point?
Something we've got to get better at. But we won 38-3, so I'm not going to sit here and harp on that, but that definitely gives us something to work on. Obviously, coming into this game, I talked about it about 2 weeks ago, even when we won the game, the last game here right against New York, that we could have been better in the red zone. So it's an area that we're going to continue to focus on. We're going to try to get better at it, and when we do, it's going to be dangerous.
Todd Archer with ESPN. On CD's touchdown, did you know Gonzalez was out, and were you attacking that guy specifically in that situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, we went into the timeout break because Gonzalez got hurt. Coming out of that, we had a great play design. Expected them to get into a shell look or, to play it soft. And, yeah, I was surprised to say the least when they just went man-to-man and allowed CD to be one-on-one and touchdown us.
I think you're in 13 personnel at that time, too. Did you think they were thinking, okay, they're just going to try and run it up there?
Yeah, I'm sure just tendencies. I'm sure that's what they're thinking, but I don't care what they were thinking. It was one-on-one CD. I'm taking that every time.
Saad
with The Athletic. Dak, kind of a two-parter. What's it like for you as a quarterback to watch, that whole sequence where Leighton scores and then quickly after that Duron scores? What's it like for you to watch that? And then also, what's it been like watching Duron kind of grow into the corner that he's become the last 2 years?
Yeah, that's a guy that works his tail off, practices hard. One of the best players at practice, no matter what he's doing, whatever look he's trying to give, whether we're going against them ones-on-ones, he makes it tough for everybody. And he's a hell of a player, and obviously it's paying off here on Sundays. And had a great rookie year last year, coming to this year, and he hasn't missed a beat. He's only going to continue to get better. And, just to sit back and watch the defense do that, it's awesome. It's awesome. Makes my job a lot easier. Trust me, I'd love to get out there and throw it over and over and be back and forth. But I sit back and I'll cross my legs and wait another 5-6 minutes or so and for them to allow me to get on offense. But if they want to score, keep doing it.
Your quarterback, Dak Prescott, after a 38-3 Cowboys victory. Let's pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
You don't need a complicated play to bring it into the end zone. That's why you should trust the team at blockchain.com to make buying, selling, and trading crypto easy. Play smarter, not harder with blockchain.com. Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus. I did notice that from some of the beat reporters, John Machota tweeting out that Dak was asked after today's game, after the presser, that, that feeling that he had last season after the Dallas playoff loss to the 49ers. And Dak said, well, it's obvious. I mean, we're so far past that. To be honest with you, that's obvious. You just want to piss me off after going into this week, and I appreciate that. I do. I actually really do. I appreciate that. They followed up with, does this loss drive the team? He said every day. So, you had a ticked-off defense this week. They came out and balled out. Hopefully that team is using all of that motivation to come out and play their best game on Sunday Night Football against the premier team in the NFC.
Yeah, you hate to have to learn lessons along the way and, those things. But, there's a lot riding on this next game. Even if the Cowboys were 4-0 and the Niners were 4-0, or they are 4-0, but there's a lot riding on the game, I think, emotionally for the Cowboys. This is one of those, you have got to find a way to go to Santa Clara and beat the bully.
Yeah.
The 49ers, they're in my opinion, they're the class of the NFC.
I agree.
When you start to talk about their roster, the way they play, the way they go about their business, the way they, their offense, their defense, the way they play on the road, there's a lot of things about San Francisco as you build your organization would say, wow, I'd like to do it that way. That's what I want to. But Dallas has got to find a way to go there and really put their best foot forward. I do believe there is now. It's a long year, but you go to San Francisco, and then you find a way at the end of the year to have to meet again. You create a little doubt. You create a little doubt about the situation that, like, hey, we could come in your place. I think there was a time. Geez, it was 2014. It was when Romo, and when it was the Dez catch game. I really believe, in the Des Green Bay, if Dallas wins that game, they had gone to Seattle earlier in the year.
Yes.
And curb stomped
Yes.
Seattle. And in my heart of hearts, I believed if they would have been able to play in that NFC Championship game in Seattle, they would have curb stomped them again because of what they did to them earlier in the season. In the season.
I think that's a great
I think Dallas needs to get that. They don't need to go to San Francisco next week and play a poor game.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden now we're having the questions at the end. Well, here we go again. San Francisco did this. San Francisco did that. 3 years that Dallas can't beat San Francisco. This is a huge game for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Just for the approach of setting them up potentially for what could be at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to that 2014 game. DeMarco Murray was great. You had the crazy toe tap catch on a third down from Terrence Williams.
I think he was throwing the ball to Witten that time too.
I think you're right. Witten was also remembering that play, but that was a statement road victory against the team that had gone to back-to-back Super Bowls and won one. Right, so this would be that type of thing. This is a team that's eliminated you 2 weeks in a row. I get, what Brad was talking about earlier. It's week 5. A win doesn't mean you're Super Bowl champs. A loss doesn't mean your season's over.
Right.
But it does do a lot mentally, especially as we talked with Bobby. They've been mentioning the San Francisco 49ers in that locker room all offseason, and they've been doing it during game weeks so far through the first 4 weeks of this season. They know. They know that this one means something.
Yeah, it just does. Just for the psychological effect of, you go get a win here. Now it sets you up for potentially some other things. You're like, okay, we've put some back-to-back games together. The New England game, the San Francisco game. It's going to be a difficult game on a Monday night playing in Los Angeles against the Chargers.
Sure.
That's not going to be an easy game too, because the emotions of having to deal with Kellen Moore and all that stuff. And the Chargers are playing better.
Yeah.
So to me, this is important that they find a way to rally in a way that they go to San Francisco and don't turn over the ball, don't get penalties. Find a way to finish in the red zone, get some stops on defense, because those are the types of victories that will pay off later for you in the year.
No doubt. And, you mentioned Zeke earlier. 6 carries, 16 yards for Zeke, averaged 2.7 yards a carry. What were some of your takeaways overall from the Zeke return?
I'm going to say this. It was a real honor to watch him play football, not just today, because today was a rough day. But it was a real honor to watch him play all these years for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, you know what? It's not his fault that they paid him all that money, but I know one thing. He did the best he could to answer the bell, whether he was hurt, banged up. We talked to, people at the Patriots, and they're saying, what a great teammate. And we're all just nodding our heads. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But here was a guy that gave you everything that he had, whether it was running the ball, catching the ball, blocking. Did he get beat up? Did he get wore down? Yeah, he absolutely did for the number of carries he had to endure here. But, man, what a football player. And I'm really happy that they honored him the way they did. I'm glad he didn't have a nice day. I mean,
yes,
I'm glad it wasn't a 100-yard day, because that probably helped but not having that happen, it helped the Cowboys win today. But when you write the book, the final chapter about Ezekiel Elliott, that guy was a warrior in every sense of the word.
He absolutely was. And
I just remember standing there at the Combine with Stephen Jones and talking about, where he was going to, where the contract and all that. Todd, let's start with Todd Gurley. And I'm thinking, boy, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's not Zeke's fault.
No.
Everybody's like, oh, he makes this, it's too much money. No. The Cowboys are the one that gave him the contract. He just did his best to try and live up to it.
Yeah.
And he went out there and gave you everything he had every time you handed him the ball.
Well, as the Jones said, for the majority of his career as a Cowboy, he was the straw that stirred the drink.
Yep.
Played tough, played through injury.
He was drinking the drink, too, while he was out there.
And, absolutely. Zeke,
early in his career, for sure.
Third all-time leading rusher in Cowboys history. Was tremendous. 12 touchdowns the last 2 years, each year. as a red zone back. I really thought when they got in the red zone early in that first quarter, they ended up kicking the field goal. I thought he was going to get his touchdown there, which would be his first as a Patriot. But, yes, we are glad from a Cowboys standpoint it was not a happy homecoming for Ezekiel Elliott, who struggled today, as did the entire Patriot offense. But overall, as a Dallas Cowboy, fun to look back, reflect on the great memories, especially that rookie season. I mean, he gets drafted. He comes into the NFL, and he's immediately the best running back in football.
He made the transition of Dak Prescott, 4th-round pick from Mississippi State, to Dak Prescott, his second year in the league, very easy. Very easy with the way that he was able to get those, 1,600 yards. You know,
crazy.
That took so much pressure off Dak in his first year there.
877-881-1053. The number to call, the number to text. We'll take more of your texts and calls. Plus, we will get more audio from the locker room. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
People will always come and go in our lives, but we all know those.
AT&T, the official partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Pepsi Zero Sugar, made for Cowboys watching. Blockchain.com, make your crypto play today. Jigsaw Dating, proud dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Jackpot.com, play Powerball and Mega Millions on the Jackpot.com lottery app. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. It's Miller time.
And Dallas 2nd and 5 at the New England 20. Prescott back, deep fade, left side, up in the air, caught it, end zone, CeeDee Lamb. Touchdown, Cowboys.
That is your drive of the game, brought to you by Ford, your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. 10 plays, 75 yards, 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Dak Prescott, right after the Christian Gonzalez injury, who is such a good young football player, the rookie from the Colony here in the DFW Metroplex, went to Colorado and Oregon, was taken 17th overall. He leaves the game, doesn't return with a shoulder injury, and immediately the next play, Dak Prescott goes right at the replacement and hits CeeDee Lamb for a 20-yard touchdown. Now, by the way, we did find this out. Because that play, yes, was at the 20, you're thinking, oh, that's a red zone score. No, the red zone touchdowns are from the 1 to the 19-yard line. You've got to be inside the 20 for it to count as a red zone score.
Yep. Learn that tonight.
Learn something new every day. I loved it.
Thought I knew the rule and didn't know the rule.
We didn't
Imagine
know.
that.
Can you believe that? We didn't know something. That happens.
Been only
quite a
doing
bit.
this for 50 years.
A lot we don't know. 877-881-1053. I know we got a lot of phone calls still to get to. Do have some text that I want to read off and see your thoughts here, Brian. Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus, the Super Bowl winning scout, live from the Miller Lite Club after a 38-3 Cowboys shellacking over Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, even Bailey Zappi. We got some Zappi time that wasn't very Zappy. Bad news
Babe
for
Laufenberg with the call on that
he
one.
did.
By
Babe
the way.
knew.
Babe
And
knew.
Babe said, look, I've thrown enough terrible interceptions in my career. I know what it looks like when a guy needs to get benched.
Right.
And, hey, I love that about Babe. He's very, very self-aware, and he put in that call, and he was 100% right. We did get this from Adam Schefter. Patriots standout pass rusher Matthew Judon suffered a lower bicep tendon tear during the game today.
I thought it was an elbow.
How much time he's going to be sidelined for is still being evaluated, but that sounds like one that, borderline could be a season ender for Matthew Judon.
Yeah. It was initially it was talked about that it was an elbow. Yeah, but so you're saying bicep.
Yeah.
It's on the other side there. So
yeah, it's sad.
And that would be just terrible for he's one of their better players.
He is.
They two of their better players went down today. When you talk about Gonzalez and
Judon.
And Judon, yeah.
Of course, so we'll monitor the situation with Rigo Dowdle, who left the game with a hip injury, and he's been so good to start this season. Yeah. And then Zach Martin as well, who left. It looked like maybe he re-aggravated that ankle. Hopefully that's nothing serious. TJ Bass came in his place. Now, we did get some text following our conversation about that Niners game that's coming up next week. 3-1 Cowboys, 4-0 49ers, Sunday Night Football, 6:01. I totally agree with what you're saying about next week's game. Do you feel, no matter the outcome, that this team is strong enough mentally to come back and win the next week? Even, hey, maybe you're on an emotional high from finally getting that win, or you don't, and it's another loss to San Francisco, and then the following week you got to get back up to play the Chargers.
Do I feel like the team is strong enough?
Mentally.
Yeah, because they've proven it. What they're 9-1
they're
with
9
Mike McCarthy,
and
I don't even believe in analytics and that. And yeah,
that's enough of a trend in a sample size for me to believe. Yes,
there's a 9-1.
Even if they were to lose, I think they're coming back and they're going to spank Kellen Moore and the Chargers.
The fans, are they already kind of getting ready for a San Francisco loss?
A lot of the text is, I'm a pretty optimistic person from the 972, but San Francisco is going to beat us down. The O-line is blowing a lot of assignments. And we'll go back and see that. Look, it is true.
Can you text back and tell me which ones they've blown?
Yeah, let us know.
I understand. Okay, the one I know with my own eyes, the sack on Broaddus, he got caught going to his right. So they're trying to secure the down guy, and then the twister comes around. So he was late to adjust to the twister, and that's what gave Dak the sack. Right there, they couldn't. Is it Uchi? I think it had the sack.
Yeah.
Uchi's like, he's going to start, and they've got the down guy secured, and then they're going to bring Uchi all the way around. And it's super late when him getting over and trying to make the play there. So But I'd kind of like to know some of the other assignments that they might have had some blowns on. But I'll sit down tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and try and figure this all out if there are other ones. But that was the one that I'm like thinking, well, that's bad because, yeah, that gave up a sack right there is what it did. So.
Absolutely. And they do need to find a way to correct those red zone trips against a good team in San Francisco. Now, granted, last year it was a pretty low-scoring game. The Niners really had one drive where McCaffrey got going a little bit, and then he ended up getting that touchdown. That was also the drive where you had Diggs drop the interception and then that big George Kittle play as well. Overall, the Cowboys' defense was fantastic. Points might be hard to come by next week.
Hell,
but that
we
makes
thought points were going to be hard to come by here.
We did. But that makes it even more important to where you got to cash in for touchdowns. You can't be kicking field goals against a good team.
You can kick field goals if you get defensive stops.
You can.
If you get 4th and 1 stops and 4th and they got a couple of them, right?
Sure. But still, against a good team in San Francisco, I don't think they're going to be able to necessarily overcome bad red zone operations.
Trips?
Yeah. I mean, this is a weird trend. And maybe they finally did figure it out because we've been talking about Hunter Lipke. Look, you had
handing the ball to Hunter Lipke, I've learned, is not a bad thing.
No, he's good. And you had an opportunity where Schoonmaker dropped a touchdown.
Yeah.
That would have been a red zone touchdown. I think they're close. They just need a couple of breaks to go their way and execute a little bit better. But we'll hash that out. One other question from the 214. How do you feel about the utilization of Brandon Cooks? They feel like they aren't utilizing his speed well enough.
They want him to run vertical and throw the ball
down the field.
Yeah, is what they want.
Now, he did have an 11-yard catch for a first down early in the game. And then really, you just didn't have to utilize a guy like Brandon Cooks just based on the game flow. And unfortunately, that's kind of how it's gone. Week 1 with him, today. Last week, I would have liked to certainly have seen Brandon Cooks be utilized more. I think it's going to happen. I think the Brandon Cooks breakout and the utilization of him is going to happen. He's too good of a player for it not to.
Yeah, I would like to see, and again, maybe it's about confidence, maybe it's about the offensive line, but I did feel like the ball went downfield a little bit better today.
It did.
The Brandon Cooks drag routes and stuff like that, I'm cool with that if it's 3rd down and 4. You're trying to get him the ball on the move. Mm-hmm. But for a shorter guy, his ability to make plays down the field is pretty. I mean, just
his entire career,
explode and then come back for the ball.
Yeah,
like the comebacks or outs or he's just such a smooth route runner. That's what I would take advantage of, his ability to run those routes the way he does.
All right, let's go back out to the phones. I do want to hear from you, 877-881-1053. We've got several lines that are open as well if you want to call. So we got Adrian in Albuquerque. Adrian, what's going on? You're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Good win. Think some of the fans need to lay off on Dak, right? They just really nitpick at everything he does. So
no, I mean, everybody's got an opinion, and so, allow the opinion. I just ask if you're going to have the opinion back up with a little research. That's all I'm asking. I mean, I have no problem with the gentleman's opinion or being able to say what he wants to say, I mean, people are saying, oh, this guy's weird. No, that's not the case. I just, if you're going to throw a blanket statement out there, have a little backing to it. That's all I'm asking about it. You can like the quarterback, hate the quarterback. That's not the problem I have. It's, how you getting to your opinion. So, Sorry, I interrupted you there, but go ahead, sir.
No, I agree, Brian. I don't know. I mean, I saw a tweet from Next Gen Stats that, on Dak's stats today, it looked really good,
Yeah.
So, just got to say that, I thought they played really good. Defense definitely came out and balled. One thing I'll always go back to, Brian, is when on the draft show, when the Cowboys drafted Duron Bland, you said the Pac-12 missed out on him.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Hell yeah, they did.
That's kind of all I want to say. I mean, great show, guys. Thanks for all you do, and thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Seriously, no problem with people's opinions. No problems. But, just give me a little bit more than he hadn't won us any rings.
You want some substance
There's a lot of quarterbacks that haven't won rings. A lot of really good quarterbacks. Probably some quarterbacks that are better than Dak hadn't won rings. And then there's been some lousy quarterbacks that have won rings. So just don't use that. I mean, just give me something that you're basing your opinions on.
Yeah.
Just give me something there.
the next-gen stat that he was referring to, Dak completed plus 10.7% of his passes over expected against New England today. His
pretty good,
seventh game with a completion percentage over expected over 10. Yes, in a game over the last 2 seasons. No other quarterback, by the way, has more than 5 games with a completion over expected plus 10% or higher since 2022. Only 2 have more than 3. Dak's got 7.
What was Dak's numbers today?
He was 28 of 34.
Okay, I think in the first time that they played Belichick, he was 31 of 54.
I think he had like 464 yards.
No, I think it was 445.
445?
I think he had 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. So do the math. For the last 2 times that Dak Prescott has faced a Bill Belichick-led defense.
Yeah.
You know, that's
incredible.
I challenge, and Dak hasn't played that many games. He played a game against, he was quarterback against Brady in that game, right? When he had a game, when the bad weather game, when they went to New England, that Dallas got a punt blocked. Brady was awful. Dak, I don't think, was particularly great that day.
Yes.
I think Dak was the starting quarterback that day.
Yeah, he was. That was in 2019 at New England. He went 19 of 33 for 212 yards and 1 interception. The game in 2021, he went 36 of 51, 445 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, all cover 0.
Unbelievable.
Man. So what are the totals? You have the totals right there?
Yeah, so the totals, his career against New England, he's thrown for 918 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a passer rating of 97.4.
Again, see, that's what I'm saying. That's against 97.4 against Belichick, right?
Yep.
That's
being weighted down because the first game was bad. The last 2, he had passer ratings over 108.
Yeah, no, he crushed him in that 2021 game, and that was the game he hurt the calf. He was rolling.
Yeah, final
he throws
play.
a touchdown, and then he jumps and he hurts the calf. But 97 rating against a Belichick defense in 3 starts, I'd say that's pretty good stuff right there.
That's pretty darn good from your quarterback. All right, let's get back out to the phones, 877-881-1053. We got Big Jim in Round Rock. What's going on, Jim?
Hey, fellas, how's it going? It's good to talk to you. Wolchuk, Broaddus, appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Making a lot of good points, like you always do. But, hey, one thing I remember when we were y'all were back in training camp, there was some speculation that, when these first part of the season, this offense would be kind of finding itself a little bit.
Sure.
I think we all said Broaddus, I remember you saying, I think your defense won't carry you. I remember you saying that, Broaddus. I think that's what we've gotten here. And I think the other thing I figure is McCarthy, and I don't this ain't a negative, fellas. I think he's a little cautious. I don't mean that negative, but he's going to do what it takes to get a win. And I think he's pretty coy at showing. He didn't want to show with hand. And
I think he doesn't want to. I don't think he wants to expose Dak to any throws that might cause turnovers. That's where I mean cautious. Right. I mean, I like what you're saying. I like the direction you're going, but I think he's trying to keep Dak out of some turnovers. But that's cool
Brian,
because
I'm thinking just even as the game goes by, it's like because I'm sitting there watching, thinking, man, I'd like to see this, I'd like to see that, but hey, we don't need it. We got this defense playing lights out ball. And we're going to win this game. Hey, one quick thing, fellas.
Sure.
You boys need to talk to Spittle. I think if one of these away games, if you guys were to auction off the opportunity to sit and watch a ball game with you up there at the headquarters, hell, I bet you could make a buttload of money. Hey, Big Jim, he'd bet on it. I'd be there with you.
All right, Big Jim. We will.
Big Jim, if you just bring Dan Barbecue up there, we might let you sit with us.
We probably would. We'll workshop
cheap.
that. That actually sounds like a good thing. Maybe we can auction off for a peace-a-thon, around Thanksgiving with the KNC Masterpiece on the flagship 105 to the Fan. Our midday show. Yeah, watch a playoff game. That'd be a blast. That'd be an absolute blast.
Probably going to be on the road against Detroit.
Yeah, you put in that call.
I put in that call.
Cowboys the 5 seed, the Lions the 4.
Yeah.
And it's Dallas at Detroit. And,
yeah,
man, Detroit looked really good on Thursday night. All right, we got Brooke who called back. Brooke in South Lake. What's going on, my dude?
Yes.
Brooke.
I'm here. Are you there?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, in the words of Michael Irvin, let's go! All right, and I got 3 things for you guys. 1, Broaddus, love you.
Thank you.
2, Wolchuk, you look awesome in hot pink. And 3, the red zone is a problem.
Okay.
On offense. And this is number 4. This is what I'm going to say. Stop talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Thank you, Brooke. Yeah, the Taylor Swift stuff is really going crazy. I think after every touchdown, they're basically going and showing Taylor Swift, who's with Blake Lively in the suite right now.
Oh, good for her.
Is
she a real football fan, or is she just dating a football
player?
player?
So she's actually an Eagles fan.
Good for her.
Which, a little bit disgusting.
She's New Jersey gal?
I believe so. I'm honestly not sure, and I know the Swifties are going to come for me if I say that she is and she's not. So, Swifties,
we could look it up, right?
We could, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let the Swifties go ahead and let us know. 877-881-1053. What happened there? It's 17-12, by the way. Chiefs were up 17-0.
Safety.
They got a holding call in the end zone for a safety.
Right, hands to the face, I think it was. Holding hands to the face.
And how about the Jets battling back here? So it's Chiefs 17, Jets 12 for MetLife Stadium. An update on Sunday Night Football.
If KC takes the loss, will they show Taylor Swift, or will she have left before the loss happens? Is she a vacate?
Well, she's there, I think, again with Mama Kelsey, and you know Mama Kelsey's not leaving early.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bad look.
Do you think Mama...
Do you think it ends the relationship?
Wait a minute. Okay, where are the Kelseys from? Are they from up in that area too? Because they both
Cincinnati.
They went to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So does Mom travel to every game?
So she did today. She was in Philadelphia.
What about our center? Our center. Oh, she went to Philadelphia, then came over.
She was there. I think it worked out because they played the early game,
right?
1:00 Eastern, noon Central.
So she jumped on over.
Because it was Philadelphia to New York, so not too far.
No,
of a
it's
travel
a train
for her.
ride. We've done that before.
Yeah. So she
or a helicopter. For
she double dipped, man.
With money.
Watching Jason and watching Travis. Gosh, I was hoping Washington could pull that one out. Went to overtime, and unfortunately the Eagles got the win. Now I got to do another bet payoff. This one's not going to be as good as the Speedo. I'll tell you that. All right, let's go out. One more call before we get to break, and then we'll get back to you. I promise. 877-881-1053. I
was disgusted doing work with you.
I think that you actually really enjoyed it.
I did not at all.
I think you did. I saw the glistening in your eyes.
What?
David in Dallas. David, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, fellas?
Good.
Hey, we'll take the win today.
Sure.
Good job by the defense. But Wolchuk, you brought up a good point that there's those situations where we can't be settling for those field goals. And I get Broaddus, you said when the defense is making stops like that, especially on fourth down and getting those takeaways, then, we'll take the field goals. But when you're playing elite teams, you can't be settling for field goals. It's like these opportunities where it looks like we're just riding the offense from the defense's, takeaways, and it looks like we're going to maybe put up a Dolphins-type performance as they did last week, right? Like a 70-point performance.
What do you think about your defense?
The Cowboys' defense. I mean,
yeah.
At this point in the season, I think it's hard to gauge things. Last week,
we're 4 weeks into this thing, right? 4 weeks in. You don't have an idea about your defense?
I mean, week 1, 2, and 4, pretty good, right? And last week seems to just be an anomaly.
I would say you would. Okay, so you're not going to call your defense elite, then, right?
No. I think you can. But
you're playing elite defense against elite offenses, right? Is that what we're talking about here?
My point I was going to get to, we need to see the more important matchups, like against the 49ers, like the Chargers. Like you said, while their defense isn't great, their offense can be really good. When we play the Eagles, we need to see how that goes. We're going to be playing the Bills. We're going to be playing Miami. Maybe their defense isn't that great, but their offense is quote-unquote elite.
You can kick field goals if you're playing elite defense. And I'm not trying to wash the hands of the red zone offense, but in your mind, if you're telling me you think we play elite defense, we can match up against elite offenses. Now, if we're playing poor defense, I get it. I go to a school at LSU, plays great offense, terrible defense, and it's going to kill us in every single game. But if my defense is elite and I'm holding people in check, and maybe they're kicking field goals too.
Yeah.
I can get away with that right now.
Here's what I would say, though, to David's point, and what I was saying earlier is I don't think, even if you have an elite defense, you're not going to get that performance every single week for 17 weeks. And at some point,
do you feel like you're going to get bad red zone offense for 17 weeks?
I'm hopeful not, but right now the trend is yes, whereas the defense would be a no. But when you're playing against a team in San Francisco who we believe could very well be the best team in the NFL, I think that's a recipe to lose against a good team. Is
I think
settling
when you
for
go
field
back
goals.
and watch San Francisco play against Dallas the 2 times,
Yeah.
their offense struggled against your defense, and I don't think the defense was as good then the last 2 times as it is right now.
They sure did, but you scored 12 points. You didn't score enough points to win, and a lot of that is because they failed in the red zone.
Yeah,
right.
But that's what I'm saying. But if you're getting the failure of the red zone is, if you're getting points,
it just puts a ton of pressure on your defense to have to be perfect, and I think that's a lot to ask, man.
Okay, I see.
That's I
don't understand.
They're capable of doing it.
If you've got an elite defense, and say you got an elite defense, and you're keeping people, maybe they're kicking field goals too.
Yeah, maybe they are.
Okay. If you don't feel that way, you don't feel they're elite. Then
I don't think that they're an elite defense yet.
Okay.
I don't. I think
Tell
they're
me
very,
that.
very good, but
Okay.
I don't think that they're an elite defense yet.
If you don't think they're an elite defense, and you think they're just okay. You think they're just okay?
I think they're very good.
Then they need to worry about the red zone stuff.
I mean, look, I don't think you can say that they're an elite defense when last week they gave up over 200 yards rushing to Arizona.
That was the first half.
It was
the first half of the game. They gave up 180.
It was the
first
most
half.
rushing yards in the first half of Cowboys teams given up since 1991.
It was. And what did they give up in the second half?
It was terrible.
What
They
give
made
them in the second
corrections.
half? See, this is where they made corrections. They got the stops. Dallas then, now to your point, let them down in the red zone.
100%.
Okay,
right.
That's where you. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But if you feel like, though, to me, you play like kicking field goals was going to be enough today against this team.
Yes, it would be.
It was. Sometimes
my
you get
fear is-
games where it's, and to me, everybody acts like the red zone is this huge issue. I think there's things that are actually correctable.
And I agree with you.
I mean, Tyron Smith, don't get called for holding on. That's a red zone touchdown.
Don't drop the touchdowns.
Don't drop it. They've had 2 of them. Hendershot dropped. They've dropped 2.
Schoonmaker has. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's correctable. I'm with you. I just do think when you're playing against upper class teams, you need to be cashing in. Not every time, but more often than not, instead of kicking field goals. It's a recipe to probably lose to a really good football team. But hey, hopefully the defense comes out and pitches a shutout next week. That'd be amazing.
Well,
I would love to see
if
that.
you feel like you have just an okay defense,
I think they're better than okay. I'm not ready to put them in the elite category yet.
Okay. Well, there's some people that are.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. And and I'm hoping that they do end up being an elite defense.
Right.
But I don't think we can just ignore what happened last week to Arizona yet. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, you can't throw interceptions down there.
No.
Game on the line.
No doubt. Absolutely not. All right, we'll take more of your calls. I thought that was a great conversation. We'll also hear from Jerry Jones as well. We got the owner for you. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
You can trust your car to the place with the star.
Duron Bland, call the house. Hello, house. House, it's me, Duron. Hello, house. Touchdown for Duron Bland.
That is a tremendous call from the voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham. That is our what a play of the game. As the casino of the Dallas Cowboys, WinStar knows what it means to be a star. With over 10,000 of your favorite electronic games, the all-new two-story WinStar Spa and Cascades, their luxury pool complex, WinStar really is the place to feel like a star. Please game responsibly. Duron Bland has 8 interceptions through his first 21 NFL games. You know the last player to have at least 8 interceptions through their first 21 games?
Deion Sanders.
Trayvon Diggs.
Oh.
The man he's replacing.
Okay.
Isn't that pretty cool?
That's cool.
That's neat symmetry.
Yep.
Right there. But Duron Bland's been absolutely fantastic. And I thought Jordan Lewis played well today as well as he slid in to play the slot.
I wonder how much they played against these tight ends, because early in the game, the tight ends were. Did you see late in the game they tried to run Gesicki on a 9 route?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going.
What the
holy
heck's
jeez,
going
this
on?
is like, what is going on here?
But yeah, I mean they love Hunter Henry, and I thought the tight ends, if they were going to have success, they would have had to been really, really big for them.
They have to think about a couple of things. They drafted a bunch of young linemen. They've got to get those guys eventually into the pipeline. They've got to do something at wide. And this is a team that has tried so hard at wide receiver. With Henry, I mean, they've just, it's the amount of
they signed Juju Smith-Schuster
resources they've spent to try and get their wide receiver room at least looking right. They probably need to think about something too with Mac Jones at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Yeah. Now, I do want to hear from the owner and general manager, Jerry Jones, who caught up with the media following this 38-3, 35-point win.
He caught up with the media.
Oh, yeah, or the media caught up
No,
with
that's what I'm saying. No, he caught up with the media.
He usually
media,
chase him down. Hey, guys.
Come here.
I'm ready.
Yeah, come here, media.
Take it away, Jer.
We've got a lot. That's I have such respect for New England, have such respect for Belichick that's just humbling to get to go out there and play that well. Proud of our guys. And but again, I can't say enough about that team that we played out there and what it represents.
What were your interactions with Zeke like today?
Well, I didn't have direct interactions with Zeke today. I did not. But I appreciate y'all saying what I said about him earlier in the week. And, of course, we recognized him here and should. But I'm just glad that's a bunch I have a lot of respect for. So we're glad to have this outcome.
Jerry, is the team's ability to bounce back after losses?
Well, I didn't expect this type of showing today, but I will say this was as good a week of work as the coach has talked about, Mike has talked about. And I will say this, he executed just exactly what he was going to do all the way through, and really had a good game plan, and that's what you saw from the very early gun all the way through. He was ready to break out that fake extra point on him yesterday, so it was good.
Jerry, is Duron Bland one of the you guys found him in the 5th round? Has he been one of the best draft surprises that you've had in recent memory?
Yeah. I'm proud that he's been able to get in a position to not only physically, but I'm just glad he's gotten the opportunity to play and be involved in the games that he has. But he's just getting better and better, and he's sound. Certainly we miss Diggs, but it's good to have him and the other guys out there.
Jerry, is it too early to look forward to this showdown with the 49ers? A lot of people anticipating this 49er game starting after the losses in the playoffs.
Well, there's nothing early about that. Here it is. And I really didn't expect this today, this type game. And to the end that it let us get through it and get a little better, get a few things maybe that we wouldn't have had because of this game. We're going to need it because it's, in a way of speaking, it's we just know what they're very capable of, and a win in San Francisco would be magnificent.
Would a win in San Francisco validate some of the positive things that we've seen in these 3 wins?
I don't. I just think a win against that team would just feel like you're playing for the marbles in the NFL. And when you have against a team, here they are undefeated as we play them, and we're going to come in there and try to stay on the field with them.
Cowboys owner and GM Jerry Jones there talking with the media here on the official postgame show. Your Dallas Cowboys live from the Miller Lite Club. Zach Wolchuk and the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus. A lot of anticipation, man, looking into this one. And I do think wins are always meaningful, but it would mean more. And I feel like you feel the same way with that. For a team that has had your number, that's ended your season the last 2 years, like this is a big measuring stick game for this team.
Yes, it is. It is. And it is, as I've said before, San Francisco to me is the bully in the NFC. And you have a chance to go to the bully's backyard and see if you can be a bully too and get the respect. I know a lot of people have talked about the problems with Arizona. That was a terrible loss. Absolutely terrible loss. His team was capable of bouncing back the way they did. Jerry Jones to himself was surprised of how easy it really was today and how well his team played. And, we all, as we broke down the game, felt like that it was going to be tough and tight and maybe New England couldn't move the ball, and that happened today. But now as we focus towards that game on Sunday night in Santa Clara with really the world watching, this is an opportunity for you to step in there into that arena, and find a way to go toe-to-toe with, who I think the best team in the National Football League is. The Dolphins went up to Buffalo today, got embarrassed, had a terrible game offensively, it sounds like. So San Francisco, that's the one team that for the last 2 years, they've ruined your season going forward. And if the Cowboys were to find a way to play a complete game and do things that they're capable of doing and get a victory there, that would be a big, big, big step in the right direction. And maybe it takes their season into a direction where it's now talking about, okay, let's keep stacking these wins. And at the end of the day, if say you win the division or seeding and all that, we're ahead of San Francisco, it's a home, all those things. Yeah, this game is huge. It really, really is.
And one player who is going to need to play big. And look, you got Bosa on the other side, and then we have our own Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Micah Parsons. Micah catching up with the media afterwards, talking about this 38-3 win over New England.
Why do you so strongly respond to losses?
Just because it's all about the bounce back. Not when things hit you in the face, it's all about adversity, coming back after. I think that's where true champions is better at. Anybody can come in and win games. But once you face adversity, I think when you look at man's eyes and say, are we going to get better? How are we going to overcome this? Adversity makes true champions.
What's it like to see your fellow defensive guys scoring points, touchdowns, 2-point conversions?
Oh, man.
Do you want to be in that spot?
Oh, I definitely got to get into the end zone. I got to draw my man Bland. We always got little prop bets for each other in the locker room, things like that. Obviously, Bland takes the pot this week, so we got to catch up to him. So, it's always fun.
What is it about this defense that creates so many of those kinds of opportunities?
Just the disguised mannerisms, things that these guys put in each week, the way Q helps these guys, Joe Witt, and the way that we rush for these guys. We play for one another, and it just always clicks when we're on.
Duron said, you always talk about hunting quarterbacks. Duron said he does take pride in knocking a starting quarterback out of a game. Is that how you feel?
Oh, for sure. Anytime you get a guy out of his rhythm and feel like he just can't get going, it's always some right things going on. So, New England's a great team. I'm glad we was able to just bounce back and just get this train rolling because we got a tough team next week.
Frustration with he getting the ball out, y'all couldn't get the sack.
No, sacks. We got turnovers, picks. Some guys got sacks, Sam and Tate. That just keeps a competitive edge. And it's just showing teams if you chip, you're doing all these things to prevent us to get going. It's hard to get your offense really going. So
you were just getting ready to break up the 49ers. Is it too early to look forward to this show?
No, this week's over. Now it's time to start preparing for next week.
Like, they talk about the bounce back. Were there certain words that were said inside the locker room to sort of motivate, to get you guys back on track?
I don't think that's one thing about this team. There was nothing that anyone had to stand up and say. We all came in saying, nah, that wasn't acceptable. We all knew the standard of what we are. We all said that wasn't us. And we all said we was going to come out here and dominate, and that's what we did.
Any better taste in your mouth against the 49ers last 2 years finish?
No bitter taste, but this is a top NFC team. I think you put us, Philly, and 49ers. I mean, this is the playoff game. This is something you look forward to. Something we're gonna get on tape, and it's gonna mean a lot.
How much will that matchup teach you or show you about just how far you guys have come, where you're at?
It's gonna be a test. It's gonna be a battle-tested game. It's gonna be back and forth. It's gonna go down to the wire. It's almost at a rivalry at this point. It's going to be super exciting.
Seeing Leighton get in the end zone, what was that like? You said he didn't have a touchdown dance ready, but he thought it would be awkward if he did it.
Yeah, Leighton, he's my Idaho boy, man. He don't got a lot. He's just good at ping pong and football, bro. and hunting, my fault. And hunting, shooting them guns. He done taught me a lot. He needs to start. He needs to get like a hunting celebration or something. I'm gonna work on him because we gotta get him going right. The Wolf, I know that's his signature, but you got to get the finishing move. You got the signature just like in WWE. You got the signature, and you got the finisher. So you got to get a finisher.
What's yours, Micah?
Mine is the crawl, but my signature is the rub. So I had to get right this offseason and get my stuff together.
Blowouts in this league are not common. You guys now have 3 in 4 games. You just handed Bill Belichick the most lopsided loss of his career.
Mm-hmm.
What does this early stretch of the season say about how good this football team is?
The sky's the limit. It just shows when we prepare and we come into these games with our energy and who we are, we could be a dominant football team. But when we come out soft and underestimate guys and don't be to our standard, anything can happen. It's the NFL. It's any given Sunday. And I know we have a great chance at winning football games if we play together.
Micah Parsons, who had 2 tackles today, but impacted this game in a much different way than the stats will show you. He generated 9 pressures in the victory. 8th consecutive game, according to Next Gen Stats, with 5 or more pressures. That's the second longest streak in the Next Gen Stats era. Parsons leads the NFL in nearly every pass rushing metric this season. Pressures, rate, you name it.
You know what was said in the locker room? Is if you guys play like you did against Arizona again last week, or play like them, at any other time like you did against Arizona, you'll get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
That's what was said.
Yeah,
that's
which is true.
That is true. They walk in there and they say, "Listen, you can watch the tape, and as you watch it, you as you evaluate it, you play like this crap again, you won't win another damn game." That's your motivation right there.
Amen. Preach that, Brian Broaddus. All right, we've got Leighton Vander Esch, who we'll hear from as well, plus your calls. 877-881-1053 as the postgame show rolls on from the Miller Lite Club after a 38-3 Cowboys beatdown of the New England Patriots as they improved to 3-1 on the season. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip with its perfect...
Let's go, Cowboys.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Parsons is off the field. Jordan Lewis is off the field. 4th and 1. They're going with the push play, and they're close, but I don't know. Oh, they didn't get it. The Cowboys look like they've held it on 4th down and 1 at the 40.
They sure did. What a stop there. That was a 7-play, 34-yard drive for New England. 4th and 1 at the Dallas 41-yard line. Damone Clark and Leighton Vander Esch stuffing Mac Jones for no gain as they went forward on a sneak on 4th and 1. Mozzie and Jonathan Hankins, I think we're going to go back and look at the All-22, look at the tape from this one, and I think both of them are really going to shine and be a star up. To me, Hankins was fantastic today, and I thought Mozzie maybe played his best game of his young career today as well. I mentioned Leighton Vander Esch being in there with his running mate, Damone Clark. Leighton Vander Esch, as that was the defensive stand, brought to you by Reliant and NRG Company. Leighton also with the scoop and score. He talked to the media after the game.
Just got to give credit to the way we prepared this week. Just the opportunity that we had coming off of last week and really just having a sour taste in our mouth and just growing as a unit and being able to come out here and prepare this week like we did to come out and have a game like this, just to bounce back. I mean, we weren't happy with last week, and we're going to fight our butts off to never let that happen again. So we got to keep chipping away.
You've been so good defensively for the last 2+ seasons. Was that one of the longest weeks you've had, just wanting to get back out there because it was so uncharacteristic?
Yep, absolutely. You said it best there. But like I said, you got to give credit to the guys. We got to be able to come out here and prepare and bounce back and put that one behind us as quick as we did. To come out and throw a good practice on Wednesday and carry that on to Thursday and Friday and Saturday, just getting ready to come out here and be able to showcase what we're really about again. So, but like I said, I mean, this is just another win, and it's early in the season still, so we got to keep continuing to climb these peaks throughout the season. And next week, we got a big one, so that's what we're going to be focusing on.
I know you talked about it when you went back and you did your Krusty's Corner breakdown, which you'll be able to hear tomorrow at 2:40 on the G-Bag Nation, the flagship 105.3 The Fan. But the linebackers were really bad last week.
They were.
And, today, even just from watching the game up in the press box, you saw a motivated group there.
Did.
They came out and performed.
Yeah, and you saw guys that gap responsibility, gap integrity, gap control, all those things. Guys didn't get turned. Guys weren't overrunning the play. Ball wasn't cutting back. If it tried to cut back, there was somebody there along the line of scrimmage that was square. There was a safety down in the box. Everybody was playing responsibility. That's how you play. That's how you play defense. The things that offenses will take advantage of is undisciplined defense. If you're interested in just flying up the field and they find a way to trap that guy or down block or get a guy up on the second level, those could be some devastating runs. We saw it last week. Chunk runs, huge runs. Longest run today was 9 yards.
Amazing.
That was it. And that was, we had a chance to visit with folks, with Bob Sosi from the Patriots, their broadcaster, and he's saying, hey, it's no secret. The Patriots need to run the ball today. They didn't run the ball. They didn't run the ball at all. And that's a credit to the Cowboys, for playing better run defense and being more disciplined doing it.
Amen. And I co-sign everything you said there, and you could see it. I mean, you could see it on the field, and credit Dan Quinn. Those guys were ready to play today. They had a plan, and they executed it. Let's go back out to the phones, 877-881-1053. Zach Wolchuk and the Super Bowl winning scout, Bryan Broaddus. We got Mike in San Antonio. Mike, how are you doing, sir?
Hello, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate it. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
That was I think they're looking pretty good overall. I mean, if you total everything up, they're blowing 3 out of these 4 teams that they played out of the water. Defense is looking good, even with Diggs down. Parsons gave me a good scare today going out. Looked like he was banged up, but that guy's a beast. He just keeps getting in there. Definitely some things that they need to work on. I do think that Iron Mike is playing things very vanilla, play calling. I do think he will open it up a little bit more next week against the Niners. They don't want to show anything yet. I do think even that the extra point, 2-point convert, the trick play there is a little bit of what you're going to start seeing. Definitely once we play the Eagles later on, they'll start opening up more. Hey, man, the Cowboys they're 3-1, you know. I mean, they're relatively – they're still at the top of the league. You know, I think the ratings for this coming game are going to be out the roof. You know, Cowboys versus Niners, Sunday Night Football. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hyped.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Mike. Yeah, everyone's going to be plugged in.
Steam.
Yeah, everyone's going to be plugged in to Niners and Cowboys.
Got some ratings talk out there, huh?
Man, NBC's excited. They are. You're 3-1 Dallas Cowboys. You're 4-0 San Francisco 49ers playoff rematch, and two storied, legendary franchises in the sport. That one's going to be a blast. All right, we got Kevin in Dallas. What you got for us, Kevin? No,
Kevin.
Oh, no,
Kevin's
Kevin.
gone.
All right, let's go to Hawk in Northern California. What's going on, Hawk?
Hey, hello, Zach and Bryan. How you guys doing?
Good,
I just
man.
want to compliment you guys. Great job in answering those questions last week because I know it wasn't easy. And I'll be at that game this next week with the Niners. I'm taking my grandson to his first Cowboy game because we're big-time Cowboy fans out here. And I want to ask you guys, what do you think how Dan Quinn's strategy is? I have no doubt the defense is going to show up. But Kittle and McCaffrey and Sanders is how they run after they catch that ball.
Yep.
Man, you can't arm tackle those guys.
Nope.
You have to put the wood on them.
Yep.
And I was wondering, you think Jordan Lewis is going to play big in this game coming up next week? And how did you rate his play today?
Appreciate the call there, Hawk. Yeah, I mean, I thought Lewis played well in the snaps that we were able to see from him. I think that's something that obviously, Brian, you'll have an
I'm
update
interested
for us
to
tomorrow.
see how much if he actually played against these tight ends.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen him sometimes take coverage in the slot, but then go big, go find some other, find somebody. Maybe it was Curse and Hooker. It looked like earlier they hit Hunter
Henry. They did.
The first place when they go play action
Yes.
and threw it over the top for like 12, 14 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
I think Hooker made the tackle on that one. I'm interested to see, and he's right. Hawk's right about the tackling and how important it's going to be.
100%.
How important it's going to be to getting bodies to the ball.
Yeah.
And this is where the worry for me about playing the 49ers is. Not the run after the catch, but we saw what Arizona does to you when they jack with your eye level, with the motion, the movement, the orbits, the things that they do. Get ready for Kyle Juszczyk moving back, set, moving a guy across behind that. They're going to jack with your thought about how to play defense. They're going to mess with you in send people one way, come back the other with the ball. They're going to try and mess. And that's one thing that Arizona, I felt like initially in that football game in the first half, had some success doing, was messing with your eye level. San Francisco takes it to a whole nother level. Miami, San Francisco, if you're one of those metrics guys and gals, which I'm trying to get a handle on myself, they are the teams that have a ton of movement. Your football team, on the other hand, has gone from moving okay to moving, well, maybe not so much to not moving at all when it comes to motion. I'll be interested to see how the finals of all the movement was. But the 49ers will jack with your eye level, and they'll jack with where they're going to send you and what direction they'd like to take you. Arizona, the pin and pulls, just get ready.
Yep, no question.
Get ready for pin and pulls from the 49ers.
And they've just got a bunch of weapons, bunch of ways to beat you. Brandon Ayuk is having an absolute stud of a season as he's looking to get paid. The caller mentioned Deebo Samuel. He's a star. Obviously, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. They got Elijah Mitchell, who's another running back they can throw at you. They're going to try and exploit you and get you in a lot of different ways. Tackling will certainly be important, but
It'll
I think
be big.
You're spot on when it comes to, especially for the linebackers and the guys in the secondary.
They're going to jack with your eye level.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a fun matchup. I can't wait to break that down the entire week. All right, last call. Let's go to Robbie out here in Marshall. Robbie, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys, I'm driving home from the game. I wanted to go back about an hour or so and be a rebuttal on the Zeke Elliott talk that you had.
Okay.
Okay, I'll admit, like y'all, the first 2-3 years, I loved him. I cheered. I did the feed me at the games because I'm a season ticket holder. I bought lots of merchandise with his face on it. But I'm going to tell you where I soured on Elliott. One of you said it wasn't his fault that he got all the money.
It wasn't.
But he did hold out, right?
But, yeah, so did Zach Martin. So did Zach Martin.
Well, I think Zach deserved it more because his play hasn't dropped like Elliott's. But here's another point. This is when I soured on Elliott. I looked at the fact that, being the number 4 pick in his draft, he got a $24-point-something million signing bonus.
Yep.
Dak, as a 4th-round compensatory, he had about 2.5 for his whole contract.
Sure.
I really think if he loved his teammates so much, why couldn't he have waited and let Dak go first, and then that would have helped us out? Maybe we could have got him at 28 or 33 million.
That wasn't going to happen. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Dak was not going to take that number. He just wasn't.
Yeah.
See, this is, and I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish, sir. I mean, you got anything else there?
I was just circle back to one more thing, but I just thought Zeke should have waited until Dak got taken care of. Because, he got the $24 million when he signed his rookie deal.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's not his fault where he got picked. He got picked where he should have been picked. He was selected by his college career. That's why him or Ramsey. That's what it was coming down to. Rod Marinelli, all the coaches, hey, take Zeke. It'll help us on defense. We can run the ball. To circle back with you about Dak, Dak knew exactly what he was doing, and he wasn't going to sign for, $28 million. That wasn't going to happen. Dak was in this. He understood his agent, Todd France, was changing agencies. Look at all the guys that Todd France. Every guy that Todd France had, including Dak, got franchise tag. You know why? Because Todd France was changing agencies at the time. Dak wasn't going to interested. Dak did a brilliant thing. Yeah. He waited this thing out. Cowboys, the Cowboys will say, well, we made offers. Dak is like, well, I don't want that. Right. I'll wait. Look what he did. Dak hit the mother load when it was, when he got the contract, and he got back to where now he's renegotiating again. We just felt like we just got done with this. So when Zeke signed or whenever, that didn't matter. That didn't matter at all. But, these players as a running back, man, running backs should get every penny coming to them because their life expectancy is 0 when it comes to this, of getting 2nd and 3rd contracts. Dak is always going to be taken care of. Ezekiel Elliott is not.
Yeah, look what just happened to him now in the offseason. Signed with New England for, what, $3 million?
Yeah.
Something like that. So, yeah, I'm never going to fault the players on cashing in. They have a small margin to where they can go ahead and play this game. They're sacrificing their bodies, the life after football. They've got to cash in when they can, and I'm not going to hold that against any player.
Never fault the player.
Money.
Never fault the player for making money.
No.
Or the front office is the one that determines his value. I told you this. Stephen Jones standing there at the combine. I think this contract starts at Todd Gurley. This is why you don't hear the Cowboys talk about it anymore.
They learned their lesson.
They learned their lesson. They don't want to talk about Zach Martin and what They don't want to talk about Dak Prescott. They don't want to talk about Jerry saying, well, we got Parsons, we've got Lamb. The hardest one they got, I thought, was Diggs. They got the Diggs one done. You know why? Because Diggs didn't ask to reset the market.
Yeah.
That's why they got that one done. So to me, if you're CD or one of these guys, don't try and reset the market. The Cowboys will find a way to work with you if you don't do that.
All right, coming up on the other side, we've got our player of the game. We'll go through the scores from the rest of the National Football League, put a bow on this one, and look ahead to San Francisco. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
I'm Darren Woodson, former Dallas Cowboy player and Super Bowl champion. When I played in the NFL at a high level, I relied on my vision to see.
Sports. Pepsi, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Brought to you by
Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. Bell Nunnally, attorneys and counselors. United Ag and Turf, the official ag and turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. American Airlines, proud to be the official airline of your Dallas Cowboys. And by Ford, your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Big 4th and 2. Jones in the gun. Blitz look from Van Der Esch. Here he comes up the middle. Pass out to the right, intercepted. Bland again. And stopped finally at the 50-yard line.
Duron Bland is our player of the game. He had a house call, 2 interceptions overall. Absolutely fantastic. Now 8 interceptions in his young NFL career, and it's his second multi-interception game. The other one coming against Indianapolis last year. Want to use what the pros use? Jack Black is the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today. I'm sorry, I got a little choked up there.
What is up with you?
A little choked up. Yeah. Talking about
is it that Zach Wilson led Jets fighting their way back?
It's stunning. I'm loving the tweet that I saw.
Taylor Swift's about to walk.
Yeah,
she's about to walk.
She's about to walk to Zach Wilson.
She's like, Taylor Swift's mom's looking at Zach Wilson right now with some Google eyes.
Oh, yeah. I bet Mama Kelsey, we need to watch out there. Yeah. But I saw a tweet that Taylor Swift fans that are watching the NFL
go through the metal
first
detector?
Time, yeah, I did.
That's hilarious. She just went to the metal detector like we do.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. I mean, you got to check.
Go to the stadium. You got to check your scouting bag. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure you got everything in your bag. Yeah.
But the Swifties watching the NFL for the first time probably think that Zach Wilson is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I thought that was sensational.
But all these people that bought Mahomes jerseys, all these Swifties, they're all wearing Kelsey.
They're Chief fans.
And they're Chief fans, and they're like, "Whoa, we're pulling for this train wreck."
20-20, we're all tied up in New York as Zach Wilson is leading the Jets back. That is,
win you a game.
That's amazing. And like you always say, the NFL is a strange lady.
I got to get those T-shirts.
You do, because
someone's listening. Make me a T-shirt and send it to the station.
I love it.
I'll give you full credit.
All right, I do want to hear from Duron Bland. He is our player of the game and the man of the hour. Caught up with the media.
Does that qualify as game of your life?
Second game of my life, I'll say. Well, actually, no, I'll put that at the top. The last one. The picks. I got this one, the pick six. So last year was the 2 picks, and this one, the pick six. So put this on top.
Walk us through that 54-yard pick six.
Man, he got an early one across the field, so I couldn't let him do that again. So. And then I seen open field when I got the ball. It's like, nobody's catching me from here.
Yeah. Duron, last year you got your opportunity because Jordan went down. This year, Trayvon goes down. You get a second opportunity. Just what have you done to make sure that you're ready for whenever these opportunities present themselves?
I always try to stay on top of my technique. And then this time, knowing I had to step up again, I've already done that part before. So.
Is there a big adjustment inside to outside?
Not too much.
Knowing how much Trayvon means to this defense, what does it mean to you to be able to step up like you have?
It got to be another playmaker. We lost one playmaker, so but it could be it could easily be one of our days. Sorry.
8 interceptions for you in 21 NFL games. When you think on your football journey, what is that like?
Definitely excited. It's definitely more than I got in college, so. I'm happy right now.
Did you expect this to happen this quickly for you?
I'm expecting myself to make plays. That's what I would say.
It felt like you guys didn't respect their ability to go over the top of you, but it seemed like you guys squatted on a lot of routes today. Was that sort of the thought coming in, is that these guys likely aren't going to run past us?
No, it was just what we seen on film, but we were just trying to make plays out there.
When Trayvon went down.
To the way the defense responded today after an uncharacteristic game last week?
Yeah, last game it was not our game, and then the whole week we were just talking about how we're going to prove ourselves again, and then today we try to do that, and we got to do it again next week.
Duron, when Trayvon went down, there was concern amongst Cowboys fans about what is this going to mean for the defense. You've answered that question in a pretty profound way, certainly today anyway. What's your message to Cowboys fans about your ability to lock down that position and make sure everything still works for this defense?
All I got to do is stay ready. That's all I want to say.
Duron, also for you, It seems like you have a knack for the end zone. Just, what is it after you catch the ball? What's your mindset?
Oh, I'm trying to score. Ain't nothing else. I'm trying to score. That's my one chance to get the ball, to act like a receiver, or I'll try to score.
You guys have a lot of confidence as a defense to be able to essentially knock a starting quarterback out of the game, as far as performance. Do you take pride in that?
Oh, definitely. You don't always get that chance to knock off a quarterback like that. But, so once you get to be able to have that chance, it's fun. You're excited.
There is Duron Bland, absolutely fantastic game that he had today. He is indeed our player of the game. Cowboys win it 38-3 over New England. Bryan, any final thoughts as we put a bow on this one and look ahead next week to San Francisco?
Super excited to get to the all-22 in the morning. Super excited to get to the San Francisco games. Looking forward to breaking all those down and trying to kind of figure out what's the best way to attack these cats. There's got to be a way to kind of move the ball on them. There's got to be a way to stop them. And that's what's going to be the fun journey we have this week.
It's going to be a heck of a week. Really, really fun week. Scores from around the league. 20-20, we mentioned the Chiefs and the Jets are tied on Sunday Night Football.
Go Jets.
Jags won early morning in London over Atlanta, 23-7. You had the Bills with a big statement win over the Dolphins, 48-20. Both those teams now 3-1. The Broncos rallied to knock off the Bears as the Bears
Sean
go 0-4.
Payton. That's what I'm talking about.
31-28. Denver came back to win. Baltimore beats Cleveland 28-3 on the road. Tennessee knocked off Cincy 27-3. Joe Burrow is not healthy.
That's a bad loss right there for those cats.
It very much is.
Tennessee can't score points.
And they did today. Derrick Henry with another big game, 122 yards and a touchdown. And he threw a touchdown. He did one of those Tebow jump passes. Rams rallied to beat the Colts 29-23 in overtime. Bucks over the Saints 26-9. The Eagles beat the Commanders in overtime 34-31. Vikings over the Panthers 21-13. Texans beat the Steelers 30-6. Chargers over their 80s 24-17. And the 49ers, the Cowboys' next opponent, 35-16 over Arizona. And Christian McCaffrey, three rushing touchdowns. So we will have San Francisco next week on Sunday night. Of course, our pregame show will start around 4 o'clock-ish right here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Thank you so much to Jeff, to Ross, to Alec, to Ruben, to Tim, to Gavin, of course, you, Brian, Eric.
Thanks to you, too.
Appreciate everybody that called and texted and was a part of this one. I'm Zach Wolchuk. Until next week, hugs and hand pounds, everybody. We love you. Go Cowboys. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
ProStar Energy Solutions wrote the playbook for innovative energy solutions with the opening of AT&T Stadium. This mindset is why we created a complete energy playbook. Whether it's retrofitting LEDs, optimizing your HVAC, tracking sustainability goals, designing